T-minus 2 minutes. T-minus 1 minute. T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
If I ask you a question, somebody asks you.
I'll see. Let me say this. I want to answer everything, but I don't want to answer it without me holding up my proof and showing it to you, because I think it's just ignorant for someone to just give, their opinion or say something and not have proof behind it when it's something as serious as this is.
Yes, my friends, that is J.P. Miller, the former pastor at Solid Rock Church, catched in a somewhat impromptu moment during a live stream with Justin on TikTok just last night.
Someone just said, how is he tied to Mica? I do want justice for Mica, and I'm going to help bring that. I definitely want justice for Mica. And somebody said, I love the attention. There's something I learned through this that I don't think the world knows, or I don't think America knows, and that is, on a police report, you can lie and say anything you want to say. You can say that Big Bird killed Cookie Monster on Sesame Street, and they have to write it down.
Correct.
And so a lot of people take police reports as fact. It's not fact, somebody said it. What you can do is people can actually line affidavits. You can write anything you want to in an affidavit, and it doesn't matter.
We will be taking a look at the latest breaking news on the Mica Miller case and take a deep dive into several of the stories that have been going around on social media and in the news and have been reported from the parties involved to find out what actually is the truth. All right, so hello everybody and welcome back to stop playing that. Okay. We're not ready for you yet. welcome back to Watch the Obsession live stream and chat. And yes, sometimes I start the live streams with wet hair. I had to get a little workout in earlier, so hence the wet hair. But thank you guys so much for being here. I'm really glad that everybody's being here. It is here tonight. And tonight we are going to be talking about the Mica Miller case. And we're going to go through a number of things. Information has been coming out at this fast and furious pace as it pertains to this case. If you've been following this case, perhaps you have noticed that it's like kind of hard to figure out what is true and what is not true. So we are going to go through a lot of the things that have been said, the information that's come out, the information that I've been able to find out, or the channel's been able to find out through researching and doing a little bit of deep diving and investigating. And we're going to try to wade through what is fact and what is fiction. This is definitely one of these cases where you have to sort of look at everything that's out there, everything that's going on, and kind of pick through it, vet it out, analyze, a lot of things to get to where you need to go. So welcome to everybody who's here, and everybody come on in, get yourselves comfortable. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Moderators always, especially the moderators are great. You can tell they're moderators because I've got those little wrenches next to them. And I'm not going to go through and say hi to everybody in here, but I see you all. Kurt Stacy, so glad you're here. Kurt Stacy always gets a special welcome because he was gone for a while and he is back, and we're so happy about that. So thank you so much for being here. And how many of you have been following this case? Hey, Neil M., how are you doing? I see you're back. Nice to see you. McJay, thank you for being here, and thank you for that message beforehand. What a bleep, 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 bleep. That's so annoying. Somebody who covers the Watts case, I have a Watts Facebook page, and he's been posting his videos on my page without my permission, which, is what it is. But he does like weird things, like posts his live stream right before my live stream that's on the Watts case. It's just not cool. I was just trying to get on Facebook to get it off of there. I might do that when I'm behind the scenes here a little bit. But anyway, thanks for letting me know about that. So let's see. Have you guys been following this case? Who in here, if you've been following this case, put a 1 in chat. If you haven't, put a 2 or whatever the case may be. Let's see. So we're going to just go over a little bit of, foundational stuff about this case. Been glued to the videos about this case. I know, me too, right? It's like, you just feel so strongly for Mica. I said before when this story first came out, and a friend of mine, actually, Myrtle Beach, right after this happened, sent me the link. She was like, oh my gosh, can you cover this? Had no idea the case was going to be of the magnitude that it is now, though. But I started watching videos, and I just had this sense of like deep sadness that like I wasn't there to save Mica, which is really irrational because I don't even know her. It wouldn't have been possible to do that. But there's just something that the case really touches your heart, So if you're feeling that way, we get it. We totally do get it. So, gosh, it's crazy stuff. All right, so I'm just going to bring a video into the stream. We're just going to take a look at a little bit of background on this case and then move forward with all the newest, latest, and greatest stuff coming out. Did you guys all see that JP Miller showed up last night in a TikToker's live stream, Justin on TikTok? I put it in, I made a video about it with his permission today and posted it on the channel. Did you guys see that? Should I show that, or did everyone already see that? Wonder if I should show that to start. Have you guys seen that video of JP coming in on live on Justin on TikTok's channel last night? The Robbie Harvey was there, and he asked him to get off. He said his lawyer friend told him that he couldn't be on there and talk to Robbie Harvey. You saw it, Neil? You watched it? Yes, no, yes, no. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? I think we're going to probably cover the highlights of it for the most part during, let's see. Yeah, I'm just seeing you watched as it happened. Okay, so a lot of you saw it. We're going to cover the highlights of what was said in that little impromptu, really super strange interview with JP Miller. I mean, you can bet it's going to be strange if it involves JP Miller, right? So we're going to cover that definitely during the content in this live stream. And then maybe towards the end, I'll play the whole thing for those of you that didn't see it. So if it's looking like most of you did, in fact, see it. So but we will get to it. Don't worry. So if you didn't, just hold on. We're going to get there. Okay. All right. So I'm going to present something here on my screen. And again, welcome to all those you guys coming in. Come on in, get yourselves comfortable. We're happy you're here. And yeah, we'll go from there. Let's see. You know what? I think I didn't pull this up yet. So just give me 1 second here as you get yourselves comfortable. Just going to take me a second. All right. Gosh, and how sweet is Mica Miller's family? Seriously, though, like her dad and these like amazing, wonderful people. I really, really, truly hope that justice is found for Mica and for this family. They deserve it, man. They deserve it. Yeah. Now, I noticed the thing that I featured in this video is something that Mica Miller's best friend, Charlotte, said in her very first interview, which was on the podcast True Sunlight a few weeks ago. And I saw that the Robbie Harvey put it out yesterday, being like, this is something that's going to break the case. And I agree. But, I played this a few times over and over again in videos on this channel because I really do think that this is a really big deal. So if you hadn't heard it yet, and maybe you have, you're going to hear it again and some context around it. All right, here we go. Welcome or welcome back to What's the Obsession, where we deep dive into everything true crime. Today, we are going to be talking about Mica Miller, and specifically something that Mica Miller's best friend said when she was interviewed by the podcast True Sunlight. Now, True Sunlight used to be the Murdoch Murders podcast with Mandy Matney and company. So if you've been looking for Mandy Matney and her podcast by Luna Shark Productions, you can find it now under the name True Sunlight on your favorite podcast provider. To episode 51 that I will be citing in this video can be found in the description box.
This morning, questions growing around the unexpected death of a South Carolina pastor's wife.
There's got to be some accountability here.
30-year-old Mica Miller was found dead at a state park in North Carolina, about an hour north of where she lived in Myrtle Beach. Authorities opening an investigation into her death, but saying the community is not in danger.
She was probably the greatest wife anyone could ask for.
Her husband, a pastor at a local church, announcing her death after preaching last week, saying it was self-induced.
If you've been following the Michael Miller case, you've probably heard that sound clip that was just played there from JP Miller, along with many other curious sound clips from JP Miller.
She was probably the greatest wife anyone could ask for.
What I want to focus on today is something that Mica Miller's best friend Charlotte said, and I heard about this in the podcast True Sunlight, and you can find it there too. It's in episode 51. Let's take a listen to what Charlotte, Mica Miller's best friend, said.
He did make a very odd comment to me. He said, you know, she went and bought a gun and she was driving up to Lumberton. I thought she was coming to see you. And he paused there and I said, no, she wasn't. And he said, well, did you have plans to see her anytime soon? And I said, well, yes, kind of. We not officially, but I've had her birthday gift on my dresser for the last month, and we talked about her coming to get that in person. And he said, well, is that what she was doing? And I said, no, like for the third time. But the way that he stated that comment, it was just really weird to me that she was headed up to Lumberton. I thought she was on her way to see you.
Now, before we take a deep look into that comment from Charlotte, Mica Miller's best friend. Now, that is a statement that I was just talking about that I think is really a critical statement in this case, because the fact that JP Miller knew that she had just gone to buy a gun and was wondering, he's talking like past tense participle, right? I was wondering at the time if she was going up to see you, because apparently the way that Mica was driving at the time was on the way to her friend Charlotte's house in North Carolina. So that's very telling. There's only a few possibilities that could be the reasoning for him saying that at the time. And we'll talk about them later. But I think that was one of his many, many slips. This man needs a lawyer, and that lawyer needs to tell him to keep his mouth shut at all costs. Not that we want him to necessarily, but that's what he'd be well advised to do. Friend, I want to play for you some of the things that JP Miller has recently said when looked at in retrospect are very curious or suspect. Let's first start with the announcement that JP Miller made to his congregation announcing Mica Miller's death. This is April 28th, 2024.
Instead, I'm going to have you stand up and I'm going to make an announcement. And after the announcement, I'm going to ask that you leave church quietly and don't talk about the announcement. I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away. And it was self-induced, and it was up in North Carolina.
That's Pastor JP Miller of Solid Rock Church at Market Commons, casually announcing the death of his wife, Mica Miller, that happened just hours before his sermon.
Y'all pray for me and my kids and everybody. And y'all knew that she wasn't well mentally, and that she needed her medicine that was hard to get to her.
Mica Miller, a 30-year-old vibrant woman who, according to her family and friends, was very much looking forward to her. Now, I just want to mention what I think about that statement that he made when he announced her death to the congregation in the last 90 seconds of his second sermon of his two sermons that he delivered that day, when he said, as y'all know, she needed her medication, and that was hard to get to her. There are a number of things that he has said and that other people have said that were close to Mica and are close to this case that lead me personally to believe that it is known that JP Miller was holding on to Mica's medication because he needed control over everything, right, including her medication. So he would hold on to her medication and he would dole it out to Mica as though she's a child and he's like her father, right? So people have said, oh, maybe, he dosed her with too much lithium because that could make you feel, a certain bad way. I personally think, and this is based on things that I've heard from people who are close to Mica, either firsthand or secondhand or third party, whatever that would be, that I think he was withholding her medication. So she had been used to taking this medication, not that she was an addict, but she was chemically dependent on it. Any medication that you take for a mental condition that you take every day, you become chemically dependent on it. And I personally believe he was withholding that medication from her. And again, this is based in some solid stuff, not just complete theory. But again, it is to a degree speculation, just to make her be in the worst state possible, on any given day, so he could take full advantage of her, manipulate her, and always be in control of Mica Miller. Such a sad affair.
Life ahead. She had just filed for divorce from JP Miller, and he had just been served the papers 2 days before her death. It was this clip after JP Miller had completed 2 full sermons. He took the last minute and a half to announce to people that loved her dearly and to the world that his wife, Mica Miller, was no longer with us in this mortal world. It was this clip alone that brought attention to this case across the country and across the world. Let's take a look at the events that led up to this day.
Kiss your bride.
It is back in 2012 that Mica married her first husband, Jeremy. She was 18 years old. As their pastor, John Paul Miller, presided over their wedding. It is said by many that JP Miller and Jeremy were best friends.
Oh, look! Oh, you make me cry and I gotta go to work.
And a few short years after the marriage of Mica and Jeremy, it was found out that JP Miller and Mica were having an affair. Both of their spouses filed for divorce, and a few short years after that, in 2017, JP Miller and Mica Miller became man and wife. Here is John Paul Miller talking about his engagement to Mica Miller at her memorial service.
I'm good. So I have pictures, and I want to just tell you some stuff about her. When we fell in love, and we started dating, and it was time to get engaged. She loved public displays of affection. Like, she loved that. She always wanted me to, hug her in public and stuff like that. And I'm more of a private person. But I thought, okay, we're going to get engaged. I'm going to make it, I'm going to make it everything she wanted. So I set up a church baptism out on the beach so that everybody in church could be there, for us to get engaged and be a part of that. And then I had this plane that was going to fly by and have, will you marry me, Mica, there. And she's going to love that. And so everybody's kind of waiting. The baptism's over and we're out there playing volleyball. And all of a sudden the plane comes by. And I take Mica and I turn her around and I face her toward the ocean, face her toward the plane. And everybody's clapping and cheering. And she leaned back. She said, why is everybody cheering? I said, the plane. And she said, oh, I don't have my contacts in. I was like, oh my gosh, I played this whole thing. I got a picture of that, I think. Yeah, there. And I never forget, her exact words were, she said, she turned around, there's the plane up there. She couldn't see it till we took a picture later. Her exact words, I'll never forget, she said, well, yes, anyways, yes.
According to multiple sources, Mica Miller was not the only woman in JP Miller's life. This is Susie Skinner. She was married to her husband, Chris Skinner. Susie and her husband, Chris, are members of Solid Rock Church at Market Commons. According to sources, Susie and John Paul Miller began an affair in 2021. In that same year, 2021, tragedy strikes the Skinner family.
We're learning more about the man who died after being found unresponsive in an Horry County pool. The victim was 40-year-old Christopher Skinner, a paraplegic and a motivational speaker.
Chris Skinner was found dead in a community pool on Labor Day weekend 2021. Chris Miller was bound to his wheelchair, and Susie, his wife, had said that he would like to go out to the pool just to enjoy being outside. But apparently on this day, it said that he got too close to the edge of the pool and drowned.
It's very, very exciting. I was Chris's pastor, to preach a funeral in which I don't have to lie. It's probably my first funeral where I get to say all the truthful stuff And that's because we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that Chris was a child of God, is a child of God, faithful husband, wonderful father, great friend, brother, son.
Interesting words J.P. Miller had to say about Chris Skinner. On any other day, J.P. Miller had no problem preaching about virtues, about loyalty, trust, companionship.
Be loyal. You know, loyalty is not a word that we hear in our vernacular very, very often anymore.
It is unclear if Mica Miller knew about the affair, but what we do know is in October of 2024, Mica Miller filed for divorce. For reasons we do not know, in February of 2024, the divorce papers were dismissed. This is very interesting timing because something else that we do know is that on February 8th of 2024, Mica Miller was admitted to a mental institution. According to Mica Miller, she was admitted to that hospital against her will. And according to the family, John Paul Miller used that opportunity to gain access to Mica Miller's electronic devices. Now, there's more that we know about this now from Mica's best friend, Charlotte Nelson. So Charlotte Nelson said that according to Mica, the condition of JP taking her home, taking her out of that hospital and taking her home, remember, he had an illegal power of attorney over Mica at that time. And he also clearly had mental psychic control over Mica at that time. So he said a condition, Mica told Charlotte that JP made it clear a condition of her leaving the hospital, he taking her out of it, was that she admits that she, yes, does have a mental illness to herself and her world and the doctors, and that she starts taking the medication that he wanted her to take, that he advised the doctors that she needed to take, which was, of course, lithium. Then we also learned later on that that was a medication that at some point, if not now, we don't know that, John Paul Miller was taking himself. What a freaking creep. And also, according to the family, Mica Miller was collecting evidence to get ready for a divorce with J.P. Miller. And after she was released from the mental facility, all the evidence she had collected on her electronic devices had been deleted. During this time and after, John Paul Miller had no hesitation in using the pulpit to talk about his troubles with Mica Miller. And his story was very different. And oftentimes, his stories were very degrading towards his wife.
Last year, you know, my wife, they went to Africa, had a wonderful trip, amazing trip. And she came back with the idea to start a school in Africa. And 6 goes in the hospital, gets out and just leaves, just completely leaves me, leaves everything, drains the bank account and goes. Guess what? While you're talking bad about me out there, I'm building a school in Africa for over 100 kids to be able to be fed.
Okay, self-righteous bastard. We know that much, right? So now let's just move on to something different. So during our last live stream, which was Wednesday night, we were talking about the change in the story with the fisherman, who was one of the people who had found Mica's belongings, who was at the scene of the crime at Lumber River State Park when, you know, first responders arrived after she or somebody made that 911 call and collected her, you know, found Mica, or somebody else found Mica, and then, you know, also collected her belongings, and everything that happened went down. So we're going to listen to the complete narrative, the most recent narrative from the fisherman. So here we go. I'm going to bring that into the stream. And this is from PI Justice for Mica on TikTok. Now that I've learned how to use my TikTok. Or actually, this is on Ellie Investigates, but it's from PI Justice for Mica. I don't know how to credit these people. I'm going to try to get better at that because I do like to give credit. All right, here we go.
On the day that you were out there fishing, did you have any type of cellular service out there?
No, sir. I fished that place right regularly. I understand, you know, I probably shouldn't have. I don't know why I did it, but I took those things straight to the. I took nothing out of it. There was money in it and everything that was in it. I don't know what made me grab. I don't even know what made me go in there, to be honest with you.
Now, the belongings that you did find, were they like in a baggie or a backpack or a purse or?
Yes, sir. I call it like a little fanny pack. It had 3 different compartments in it. Mm-hmm. Okay. It was probably, I'd say, I don't even, it might have been 2 foot away from the bank whenever I found it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the glasses and her cell phone. I never looked at none of that. Like I said, I hadn't realized what had even happened.
Right.
So I picked it up and I put it in my boat. Well, I did walk to my left a little bit because I felt like something like that had happened. I walked to my left a little bit and looked. There was an opening to the right. And I looked, I didn't see nothing. So I just picked the stuff up, stuck it in my boat, and got out of there. And went straight to the boat landing. And there was a bunch of people at the boat landing. And well, let me go back. When I come out of the little lake, there's an observation deck up there. Have you seen it?
I have, yes, sir.
Okay, there was probably 10. There was a family of people up there, and I had told them, I said, man, I just found some stuff in there. I don't know who it belongs to. And then they had told me that somebody had called 911. But anyway, I left from there. I went straight to the boat landing. I loaded my boat up, and there's a little wall on each side of the boat landing. I took the stuff out of my boat, laid it up on the wall. I loaded my boat up. That's when I looked into the little bag, and I noticed there was a little over $500 some in there. And this is exactly what I've done, sir. I was telling the people, I said, man, there's money in there and everything. And this is exactly what I did. I did leave out of there. My nose was all tore up. I'm a smoker. I didn't have a lighter. I ran to the store. I know the laws was already there. I turned around, I went straight back to the place. I pulled up in the parking lot there where the picnic tables is at, the picnic shelter area is at.
Yes, sir.
And there was a truck there. And I pulled in behind it, not realizing it was a law. I rushed up behind him. He said, sir, would you mind backing up? I got to run this drone. I looked at the drone. I said, oh, Lord, that's a sheriff drone. That's when I realized that he was a law. I didn't realize that he was a law because he was in his personal truck. It was a 24-hour call law. He was on call.
Right.
So I said,
so essentially, it was a Robertson County deputy. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. As far as I know, yes, sir.
Okay. So he didn't show you any credentials. He didn't have a badge on.
No, sir. Like I said, he hadn't had no sleep. Said he'd been on call all night. No, sir. He didn't really show me nothing like that. Okay. He had the drone, and the drone, I noticed it had Robertson County Sheriff Department on it.
Sure.
That's when I realized, that he was a law.
Yeah, and I'm familiar with the drone, so I understand. Now on that day,
like I said, I pulled up behind him, and I said, sir, do you know a Mica Miller? He said, how do you know a Mica? He said, step out of your truck. Oh, sir, hold on a minute now. I said, I don't know what's going on. But anyway, I told him what I just told you, my story. Well, I told my story about what had happened. And then my mind's blowed up on this thing. I told him my story and everything, told him what had happened. And he sort of came around and told me what was going on. And I said, man, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. He said, well, yeah, he said, that's what happened. I said, well, how do y'all know? How did y'all find out? He told me that she had called 911, that she was getting ready to commit suicide, that she wanted to call them and let them know so her parents won't be worried about, go ahead so they can find her quickly.
So my question is, so Robertson County notified you pretty much, instantly that this was a suicide case.
After I told him my story, yeah.
Okay.
Not soon as I started talking to him, after I told him my story.
Okay, so that's something that's interesting. Now, is the volume really bad on that? So he says this guy, that one of the people that found her belongings, is asked, so the Robertson County sheriffs told you that it was a suicide case right after you reported this, and he says yes. Well, isn't that interesting? No investigation whatsoever. It's like really quite crazy. I don't know. So is the volume a little rough on that? Yeah, we're definitely going to go into depth on those 911 calls. So the main point of this part, because there's 3 parts of the fisherman statement and they get a little bit long, is that he admits to leaving Lumber River State Park with Mica's belongings and then returning, which is a little bit bizarre, right? So now we're going to move on to the part 2. Oops, I go the wrong way. TikTok, man, I'm just getting used to it. All right.
But
Here we go.
the only thing that I've got in question about this whole thing is now I just found out last week that JP had a lawyer or something that's got land down there. My only thing is, I know, when I travel up and down the river, I look on the side and I see some posted signs.
Right.
People's got land on the river.
Right.
Okay?
I'm aware of that. Yes, sir.
It tells you not to trespass.
Correct.
Which I'm not going to do that no way. But if I'm not mistaken, I think they said that there was places around in that area that was prohibited to go into the river that way.
Right.
Speaking of somebody's got land on there, don't get on the land to go to it. My theory is, if that man's land is somewhere near right there, I feel like somebody might have come in off of that land.
Right.
Okay, so now that's a theory that a lot of people have really caught on to recently. And, we're going to talk more about this later. We did go over a little bit on Wednesday night during the live stream, but we can see that. Hold on, I got to get my screenshots up here. Oh, wait, just a minute. They're like all out of order for some reason. What's going on here? It's weird. Just give me a second. And welcome to everybody who's coming in. Come on in, get comfortable. So glad you guys are here. And welcome, Justice A through Z. It's great to see you. Did I already say that out loud or just in my mind? I don't know. But I'm glad you're here. Let's see. Where is that landing? Scrolling. Damn, I got a lot of true crime screenshots, guys. Man, I got to thin this out someday. Wow. Okay. So, okay, very good. So here, let me bring this up. And then I'll bring this into the stream. So we know that right off of that 200 acres that John Paul Miller's attorney owns, that rests its back end right along the Lumber River, is this, area where that's on Griffin's Landing Road, where if you wind around to the left, you actually go to a place that is Griffin's Landing, which is a landing that goes right, it's a boat launch right into the Lumber River, or we also have Causey Landing here. So as we went over the other night, one of the theories is, could she have gotten there not by her own car that drove to Lumber River Park? Then we would have to account for who drove her car there, right? But possibly by boat. Now, Kyler, not Tyler, who was a friend or knew Mica Miller in life, who's been deeply investigating this case, said that she doesn't feel that the area where Mica was found was necessarily an area where a boat could get to it, and it wasn't good fishing. So that has two implications. Number one, okay, maybe that theory is not right. Maybe it wasn't a boat that brought her there. Maybe it brought her partway, or I don't know. I'm not sold on that theory, but I know it's a theory out there. But also, if boats can barely get in there and it's not good fishing, why were those fisher people even there? I don't know. I mean, personally, I am not an astute fisherman, so I might end up in some place that didn't make a whole lot of sense if I went fishing, but I probably won't even be fishing there in the first place. So, all right, let me bring the fisherman back into the stream and everything he has to say.
As far as me hearing her arguing with somebody, as far as even knowing somebody was even there, I couldn't see nothing because the woods was so thick.
I understand that. I've walked through there, so I understand.
But let me put this in there, though, sir. I feel like, because when I got out there on the bank, and I'm sure you understand where I'm coming from, when I got out there on the bank where her stuff was at, I looked out into the lake, and I could see everything out there in the lake. And I really feel like whoever she did or whoever, I feel like they actually, because there was other people in the lake also. I feel like they seen us or seen me, to be honest with you.
And I guess that's where I'm getting at with my next few questions is, you said that you stopped and spoke with some individuals on a boat that were leaving out of that same area, correct?
No, they weren't leaving out of the area. They was coming into the area.
Okay, coming to the same area that you were already in.
So let me add this here. Before I came into the lake off of the river.
Yes, sir.
That's me coming down river. Okay. I passed them in the river. So because they were fishing upriver.
Okay.
So that's putting me going past them to come back into the lake.
Sure.
Okay. When the gunshot went off, and I said, "Oh my God, I heard something that happened." When I happened to look back. They were coming in out of the river, back into the lake the same way that I came in.
Okay. What type of boat?
That they had something to do with it. They never did.
What type of boat were they in?
It was a John boat.
Okay.
I'd say maybe aluminum John boat. Maybe it had to have been at least a 14-footer because there was a man, a young lady, which I figured out was that man's daughter, and then another man in the front.
Which man's daughter?
Well, either one of them really, but I felt like it was the one in the back of the boat.
Right, but I'm saying
he might have been the father. I don't know.
But I'm saying who are you referring to as far as the daughter? Like, I guess the people that were on the boat, you knew that it was.
Oh yeah. There were 3 people on the boat. Right. Let's just say it was the father, the daughter, and then maybe a friend or something. She was in the middle of the boat.
Okay. No.
They came into the lake and I asked them. I said, "Did y'all hear that gunshot?" And they told me, "Yeah." I said, "Well, somebody was in there crying." I said, I couldn't tell if it was a youngin', a male or female. I said, somebody was in there crying. I said, the gunshot went off, the crying stopped.
Okay.
So they turned around. I didn't pay them no more attention, to be honest with you. They turned around and I guess they went ahead and left out. Because by the time I got back with her belongings, they were getting ready to load their stuff up, but they still stood around and just fished off the bank for a little while. When I left out, I noticed they were just still fishing off. They just started fishing off the bank.
Now, have you, prior to this or anything else, had law enforcement, or have you ever seen a photo of John Miller?
But beforehand?
Yes, sir.
No, sir. No, I never even heard of a JP Miller. No, sir.
Okay. Now, going to JP, did any of those individuals that you saw on the boat, did they resemble or appear to be someone that would look like JP?
Oh, no. God, no.
Okay. And going back to the gunshots, you only heard one shot. Is that correct?
I promise you. I only heard one shot. I've heard there was 2. I only heard one shot.
Now, I noticed at the observation point, it's a lot of rushing water there. So you don't ever have any issues or anything with your trolling motor getting through that area?
Right there where it turns out at the lake?
Yes, sir.
Well, yes, yeah, that part of.
Okay, so I'm going to go on to the next part 3, where he says some more interesting stuff, but according to Elliot Investigates, the fisherman said he called Charles. If you recall, there is a Charles second in charge of JP's church. Not saying it's the same Charles. Why would you delete your phone calls? Phone call to Charles at 1:27 p.m. So a big question has been asked, who the heck is Charles? And to this date, we don't know the answer, but you better believe there's a ton of people looking into it.
Okay.
He told me, he said, you wouldn't have been able to see it. He said, what I seen was like, he said, you know how a bag will be floating in the water? I said, yeah. And he said, it'll get a little air bubble.
Oh, well, this is really important too. How he describes how the person in the boat described Mica was found according to him. So this is really important because it just lends more to the fact that the way the crime scene was found, or the whatever scene was, the tragedy scene was found, we know that Mica's remains were found 40 meters away from her belongings on the shore. The gun was found somewhere off the shore in the water between Mica and her belongings. Weird. How did that happen? And completely still sleuth of water. And now he describes, Mica's body being basically, and I'm sorry for this is hard to hear, so trigger warning. I mean, this is all trigger warning, but her body was essentially found pinned by a piece of lumber against a tree.
Or something, you'll just see the top of the bag. I said, yeah. He said, well, that's the first thing that I seen. And he said, I really weren't sure that's what it was, that it was her to start with. He said she was pinned up between a tree and a floating debris log that was in the lake there, and that log had her pinned against a tree. He said when he pulled up there close to get a better look, his boat hit the log hit her body, and her foot come up out of the water, and that's when he realized it was her.
Okay. So how far away would you say this individual found her body from the location that you found her items?
Seemed like to me he said about 10 or 15 yards. So I hate to ask him that type of question. I'm thinking it had to be at least that because that's I didn't go far up into that slough to where I found her stuff at. So it had to be within 10 to 15 yards.
And you said that you spoke to the kayaker and he talked to you. What is that gentleman's name?
So I have to get back with you to find out.
Sure.
To find out. I don't
We need to know who that person is.
Get in touch with me. But like I said, I had to leave in my call. It was a mess. I usually do that, you know. But I can get that.
How many of you regularly delete your calls? Seriously, I don't ever delete my calls. I mean, there's a reason for it too, because, you know, I like to have record of what's going on, but I don't think most people that I know don't delete their calls every like few days or something. So I do think that this is indeed rather suspicious.
I think I can for you.
Okay. Now, again, just to clarify, that individual was not J.P. Miller.
No, sir. I wasn't J.P. Miller.
Okay.
No, sir.
All right.
Let me ask you one question.
Yes, sir.
Do you know what caliber of gun it was? Do you know any of that?
Did you recover any shell casings or anything that?
No, sir. I was told that they were under that bag, but no, sir. I've never seen it. I was just getting out of there. I wasn't really looking on the ground. I was actually looking for someone, a body or something. But
Right. So there, even in her fanny.
I didn't really find out what had happened anyway until I still weren't sure, but I just had that gut feeling that's what happened. I didn't really find out what had happened until I talked to the law. But the reason I'm asking you this question about the caliber of gun, that TikTok, you know, this is on TikTok and all that. You know, I just listened to people, and somebody told me, I heard them on TikTok say that gun should have been a loud sounding gun, right?
Well, I mean,
the gun that I heard that day, it sounded like it was a small caliber. It sounded like a loud firecracker or something like that. That's exactly what I heard. I never heard no loud shot.
Now, that could be an important piece of information that really should be a subject of the investigation. If law enforcement is doing their job and they're properly interviewing eyewitnesses or ear witnesses to the scene of the tragedy, they would get those details like, what did it sound like? How loud was it? You know, and then they would understand what the caliber of the gun was, and they would compare those details to, you know, just get a full picture of the scene. And these are all of the details that the Robeson County Sheriff's Department failed to cover in their shady, lackluster investigation.
But when you had the fanny pack or whatever you described to me, there were no bullets or shell casings or anything in there?
Sir, there was not.
Okay.
I could just about tell you everything that was in there. That's the only thing I done was grab that stuff up, man.
I understand.
But I just grabbed it. You know, $500, $600, a lot of people want to turn that in. Everything.
Okay, so now the audio starts to get really kind of difficult here. So we're gonna leave this and go on to something else. So RIC says that, you know, it doesn't make any sense about the log that the person who found her claimed was pinned against her body as she was pinned against a tree if it was in standing water. That's just another piece of information that doesn't make any sense. So now we're just going to stay with this TikTok here for a moment. Bear with me. Just learning TikTok. And welcome to everybody that's coming in. I'm so happy you're here. Come on in. I want to show you that drone footage that somebody took of Tom Winslow, who is, wait, let me mute this while I'm going through it. Whoops. Right.
You said transporting or selling.
Oh, I can't. Yep. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Tom Winslow, who is J.P. Miller's attorney. Now, just the point of the not moving water. Let's just look at this one.
Here, it doesn't get that deep. And again, even here, the water is very shallow. So for a fisherman to come in here, it doesn't get that deep.
So we see the point there
in this
that,
area here.
Kyler had made about it not really being an area, right, Kersey, where fishermen would go. Like, take a look at it. It's not very deep, but it's deep enough where if you had to wade through it to get to there, like, who the hell would do that, suicidal or not? Unless, you were really up for an adventure, which doesn't seem like that was Mica's goal on that day.
I walked through it the other day. There's not much of a rising or falling appearing to be with this water.
No ebb, no flow.
It may rise a little bit, but it hasn't risen much since Kyler and myself were over here at the beginning of the week.
All right, moving on.
Can you tell us a little? I'm going to.
Okay, so that's that. So we're going to talk a little more about Tom Winslow, but whoops, I just wanted to show you that because I couldn't find that during the last live stream and I wanted to show it to you guys. So there it is. So now I'm going to bring an excerpt of an interview with Michael Francis, who is Mica Miller's father, from Sidebar into the stream because in just a short period of time, he touches on three very curious things that we need to take a look at in what he says. Now, I shared with you, during the last live stream that I personally find Michael Francis to be very credible, even, when analyzing things from my behavioral therapist point of view and looking for indicators of deception, verbally and non-verbally. I truly see none. I don't know. What do you guys think of that? Do you find Michael Francis to be a highly credible person? Because he says some things that are not substantiated by what law enforcement reported. But in my mind, that doesn't mean much because the report that the Robeson County Sheriff's Department rendered was, again, really lackluster, seemed incomplete. For God's sakes, many people have made a point of this, but it is an important point. They released Mica Miller's body to a man that she had served with divorce papers less than 48 hours before her death, and for whom she had filed for a protective order. That is just something that you don't do. There's procedures that need to be gone through legally in such a situation. And it's not clear to us if the Robeson County Sheriff's Department was even aware of that. And now if they were aware of that, they went outside of protocol and they did something really wrong and they need to own up for it. And I don't know how you pay for it because it's too late, but it's just a terrible thing in my opinion. All right. So, and welcome to everybody who's coming in. Come on in. Glad you guys are here. Thank you guys for having great comments here in chat. I really appreciate it. Some really good thought-provoking comments. Let's see. Here it is. All right. Let's see if we're right at the beginning of him. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah, because that was my little intro on the. Okay.
Since there were multiple shell casings found and a live round found, it already didn't make much sense. So it would seem that they would automatically do a complete toxicology, not just blood alcohol, and a complete autopsy, which they did not do.
Okay, now that is a point that I want to touch on because it's very interesting. All that we have heard, like all together, about the idea of the autopsy and the toxicology thus far has been from Mr. Michael Francis or Mica Miller's sisters. But if those of you have heard it, I don't know if you noticed, in his impromptu interview with Justin on TikTok last night, JP Miller actually did address the idea of there being a toxicology report ordered. And he definitively, not going to try to use that word because I can't grab it right now, but he definitively stated that there was a toxicology test that was done, that was ordered under his word, and it takes a little while for it to get back, so let's hear him talk about that here for a minute. So I'm going to bring that into the stream, and we just wonder what is true. Was there a toxicology report ordered? I mean, Mica Miller's family is under the impression there was not, but I could see both things being true insofar as perhaps JP Miller did have one ordered, and if he did, I'm sure it was for some self-serving reason, and he knew what it was going to show, and Mica Miller's family was not privy to that, because it seems like that happens a lot, but we just aren't sure at this point. This is one of the many questions of this case. So let's get to, and here, we'll just listen to most of what JP Miller says here. This is a good time to do this, I guess. He is such a freaking character and a half. Oh my God. Oh, it's hard to watch. The audio isn't that great, and I apologize for that. There's nothing I can do about it.
So I told them what you said. I read it to them, and I basically said, the way that I word it was, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth here, but I said, the way I look at it is, my understanding is that you said a friend of yours who's an attorney. This is in regard to Robbie Harvey, guys. A friend of yours who's an attorney advised you not to speak to Robbie due to the defamation suit. And I would imagine that because there's a defamation suit, that's why he didn't want to speak.
Yeah,
I think he's freezing up.
He's just not very. He's not a nice guy. He's not playing. Hey, are all these people are watching us right now?
He's got way more people
Yeah,
watching.
and if
He's
you
got
want,
how many people
comments
watching?
off, if you want the comments off, I can turn the comments off.
No, I don't mind at all. I don't mind the comments at all.
How many people are watching your live?
I think 5,400. 5,400, and I would imagine with your face here, it's probably going to go up exponentially. JP's earbuds have no effect on this camera.
Tell me, like,
no, your earpods aren't going to help.
I don't hear well anyways.
Gotcha.
Well, I just wanted to hit on this comment really quick. Oh, who was it that said that? Was it you, McJay, or I can't see that? I did this crazy thing right before the live stream. I don't know why, but I was like just thinking, and I happened to just set my eyes on this light bulb that's not covered in my bathroom. It like burnt my eyes, and I'm like still seeing spots. It's terrible. Let's see. Where was that comment? I'm not sure what the comment was, but the point I was going to make was, I'm sorry that I lost the comment, was we do know that JP Miller has a connection to somebody close to him who does have a spouse that's in law enforcement. So it is his like head of, I can't remember who it is. It's like his second person in charge of the church. And it is his wife who is in the Myrtle Beach Police Department. So he says in one of the police reports that, he says, oh, he's ordering the responding officer around, and he's saying, oh, I'm going to call my friend who's a lieutenant and whatever. I think it was the Myrtle Beach Police Department. And so we do know that there is that connection. So I'm going to keep playing that. And hey, Neil, thank you so much for the super chat. Neil says, oh, I can't see because I looked at the sun. Good stuff, girl. Lady, woman, whatever is PC. Any of those is just fine. You're all good. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Neelam. Thank you very much.
Okay, so me about yourself. What kind of show is this? Or what kind of, is this TikTok? Are we on TikTok? And
this is TikTok.
Are you
also
like
have
just
like, what do I do?
Yeah. Like, what is this? What is this? Are you a crime person, or are you you just
gotcha.
Like what is your passion for this?
Gotcha. So my platform is true crime and current events, primarily. There is some narcissistic, toxic family stuff, which is how the platform started. I've also written 2 children's books over that. So I have this on this platform. I've got 1.3, almost 1.4 million followers I have YouTube as well, and Instagram, of course. And that's typically what it is.
Wow. That's awesome. That's great. Can I answer some of the people that are saying stuff? Would that be okay?
You can answer it's. Hey, here's the thing. It's yours. Do what you want.
So somebody asked about my tattoos, and so these are my favorite scriptures are here, but I got one at a time because I didn't think I was going to ever get more than one tattoo.
Now, I was wondering about this as well, because isn't it said, didn't we learn from before that he and Mica both had their vows tattooed on their forearms? And he even talked about, oh, I didn't want to do it because, I thought that I was like afraid to get tattoos. Mike always got all these tattoos. I was afraid to get tattoos. He talked about one of his sermons, but then, there's some cream that you can put on your skin so it doesn't hurt because, JP. And so I thought that it was the vows, according to what he said, that he had on his arm. But according to him now, this is just some of his favorite scripture. So is he being honest about that? Did he get some additional tattoos that are of his favorite scripture? Or is this really his vows, but he just doesn't want to say for some reason? We don't know. Welcome, Guilty of Crime. How are you doing?
And I just kept going back and going, that's what that is. I'm going to wait
So sorry about the audio. I can't do anything about it again.
It's breaking up. It's lagging a little bit, JP. Hold on. There it goes. I think you're back.
Okay. I don't know why it's lagging.
He sure did, Neil.
But what is your day-to-day life like now? I'm a hermit now, and I love interacting with people. I don't get to do that much now, but it says if your Wi-Fi is on, turn it off.
Right,
it's turned off.
Thank you.
It's turned off, he says.
But he's
the
not on
neighborhood we
Wi-Fi.
live
He's
in,
too far from his house.
yeah. This neighborhood doesn't pick up AT&T well.
Yeah.
Can I? Is it okay if I ask you a question that somebody asked?
I'll see. Let me say this. I want to answer everything, but I don't want to answer it without me holding up my proof and showing it to you, because I think it's just ignorant for someone to just give, their opinion or say something and not have proof behind it when it's something as serious as this is. And so I'll be doing that next week, and I'll love to send you the proof and everything along with affidavit, most likely.
Okay.
Oh, can I
Wait a minute. I love how he says, I would love to send you the proof and everything along with the affidavit, because if you watch this, you know that in a couple minutes from now, he says, what people don't know is you can lie to the police. You can lie on a police report. You can lie on an affidavit. And the last thing he says is, it doesn't matter. But now he's saying to Justin on TikTok, it is though like this is going to give proof of his word. Yeah, I can send you proof along with an affidavit. In just a moment from now, he's going to stick his foot in the mouth and say, oh, affidavits, you can lie on them. And I mean, the context he was saying it in just a couple minutes in this interview was clearly to victim shame Mica, which is horrendous. He's victim shaming Mica after death so she cannot defend herself, which is exactly what JP Miller wanted.
So I said something I couldn't see. They said that
it's going fast.
JP. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's going fast. Who said be respectful? That was so nice. Someone named Bonnie.
Well, so my lives, JP, we don't tolerate, no matter who it is, no matter what the situation, we don't tolerate people being disrespectful to other people in here as well as the guests. And at this moment, you're the guest, so it's not going to be tolerated.
I have not even start grieving yet. Not even 1 minute. Every time I go to, something else happens that I have to deal with. So I'm planning on, once this is all over, taking some time and doing what I need to do to grieve. But in my mind, she's gonna text me tomorrow and say, "Hey," so I haven't even started. That. So, and my wife's name is spelled with no H at the end. If it has an H at the end, that means it's a male. It's a boy. So Mica is the girl one. Someone just said, how is he tied to Mica? That was
somebody is very new to this case then. The story, if they're asking that.
Yeah, but
and see when they say stuff that they shouldn't, it blocks it out, turn nobody else can see what
they can see. It says, can we see your pupils? Y'all can see my pupils.
Yeah, they can't. Everybody else can't see what they wrote. That's why it's extra.
Only you can see what they wrote. Oh, okay. So how did you get hooked up with Robbie Harvey? Because y'all seem extremely different.
Well, Robbie, my girlfriend, Robbie, Robbie was on live on Facebook. My girlfriend said something to him about the text you sent me.
Yeah.
And then it just spiraled from there, getting both of them on here.
Gotcha.
I'm walking over.
Oh wow, Justin, it was really great meeting you, and I promise we will chat again. And I appreciate you being kind to me, and I appreciate you being respectful of me. And
Well, the way that I look at it is that, you know what, if you want a platform to speak and share your version of events, you deserve that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This was very exciting seeing all that. People just keep on saying stuff over and over.
He loves it.
And this is live. When they say that,
Yeah, they're typing it right now on their phones.
So with
Yeah, all of you are hitting on it right now. I mean, one of the remarkable things about this interview, I posted it earlier. Some people commented, "Oh, nothing was said there. That was a waste of time." I think the fact that nothing was said here about Mica is really very telling. I mean, his wife just died a few weeks ago, and first of all, he's very jovial in nature as he talks to Justin on TikTok here, and he doesn't say a damn thing about Mica. The only thing he's concerned about is picking out those positive comments about himself. Creep.
And that does very
with TikTok, a lot of times people will be coming in constantly, and it doesn't, like, you can't do an instant replay like you can on YouTube. So people might ask you the same questions over and over. Whereas on YouTube, people can go back halfway through it and rewind it so they don't miss something. So it's a very different. So I mean, to be very frank with you, if you wanted to do something, it would probably be better to do it on YouTube, because then you don't have to repeat yourself constantly, but you can still see the questions.
I do want justice for Mica, and I'm going to help bring that. I definitely want justice for Mica. And somebody said, I love.
I do want justice for Mica, and I'm definitely going to bring that. I do want justice. I'm going to help bring justice for Mica. What do you guys think about that? So according to everything that he has said so far, or that he has asserted, we are led to certainly believe that JP Miller is saying that Mica took her own life. In fact, he delivered it to the entire world. That's how we found out what happened to Mica in his sermon, his second sermon, the last 90 seconds of it, when he says it was not self-induced, but something inflicted or something like that. All along, JP Miller has maintained that Mica has taken her own life. So when he says, I want justice for Mica, what the hell is that supposed to mean? I think this man slips up and skids all over the place in this, whatever this is here.
The attention. What kind of attention? I hadn't talked to anybody or seen anybody. They're saying I love attention. People are just mean too sometimes.
Would you be okay if I asked you a question about an item in a very respectful way?
Sure.
So one of the things that has been said, and this was a couple of weeks ago, that a lot of people made a big, I don't say a big issue, but we'll say big deal about, was a necklace that you were wearing in the interview after she passed away. Was that actually hers, or did you just have a similar one?
No, that was definitely hers. I got it. So she passed away on the Saturday, and then Sunday when I went and saw her.
And now notice how even here, the way that he tells this story, to me, he's trying to make Mica seem very shallow, superficial, and materialistic. What do you guys think about this? Listen carefully.
They handed me some stuff, and that was one of the things they handed me. And that necklace was, for some reason, she's heard a story. Mica was very, she could hear something or see a commercial and then immediately want to act on it. And so she heard about these lab diamonds last year. And so even though she loved her wedding engagement band, she wanted the real diamond taken out of that. And she wanted a lab diamond put in, but she didn't want to get rid of that diamond. So she wanted to put it inside of a necklace. And so had it made into a necklace for her. He was wearing that, and the nurse gave me that on that Sunday. And so before I even left the hospital, I already had it on.
Okay.
I just had not taken it off. And actually, I'd forgotten it was on the next day or two, or whenever that interview was. I just, but yeah, it's a girl necklace. So I just wanted to feel close to her. So I wore it, when they gave it to me.
Okay. I appreciate you answering it.
Oh,
okay.
Just one other question. Okay. They swear down that you bought a new truck, and it's not a new truck. You
No,
just
it's
wrapped
not a new truck.
right?
Yeah, just put some stickers on it.
Yeah, he just wrapped.
Now here he answers the questions about his truck, because this becomes important too. Some people are saying, no, he bought a new truck, as far as identifying his truck on the day that Mica died. And he here is saying, no, it's not a new truck. I just have some new stickers on it. So, and then the person who is there, recording him clarifies that, I can tell it's a new wrap instead of like a new paint job.
Wrapped in the vinyl and took the stickers off the windows. But people were calling me a liar. I'm like, I see the truck
you
every day.
You had video, yeah. When you got close, you could see that it was a vinyl wrap, and so I actually made that correction.
Well, it's not even
I don't
vinyl
know,
wrap,
a
it's
week and a
just
half ago.
tape. We just put some tape on the back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we just it comes right off. You just
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did you have her cremated? Someone said. I did that because that's what she wanted. We talked a lot about what would happen if one of us passed, and that's something Mica wanted and something I want as well, because we don't believe that the body matters as believers.
I saw a clear sign of deception there when he says, wait a minute, when he says we talked about, and then he looks to the side and he takes a breath in. He's pausing there because he's trying to think of, I'm about to tell a lie, but I don't have it quite all together. What am I going to say here? So watch that. I mean, he's lying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did you have her cremated? Someone said. I did that because that's what she wanted. We talked a lot about
right here.
What would happen if one of us passed, and
then the shoulder
something
shrug.
Mica wanted and something I wanted as well.
Clear classic sign of telling a lie. Looks away, takes that pause, takes a breath in, the shoulder shrug, all of it is a clear indicator of lying. This conversation never happened. It's bullshit. So we know that he is lying about why he had her cremated, and we know why it is he had her cremated, or I think I know why it is. I think a lot of you think you know too.
Well, because we don't believe that the body matters as believers, and so that's what she wanted. Yeah. I'm still wearing my wedding ring. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm still wearing it.
Do you have anything else for him?
And you can you can love somebody and be separated, and you can love them just the same and be divorced. You can love them just the same, be with them. Sometimes it doesn't stop your love for the person. It's like having a kid that you love them and they do something that you don't like, but you still love them the exact same. All the abuse that people are throwing at me, I just pray that none of y'all have to go through anything like this, because
oh my God, all of the abuse that people are throwing at me, I just pray that none of you, oh crap, have to go through something like this. It's so whatever. Just pour me. And Rosie Russo, thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
For it, and that I did every single thing a human being could do. No, just everything that shows why she passed away. I don't need her for saying anything. There's no making family do anything.
Wait, where? I can't find where
what's the lady?
Trying to find my spot here.
What cousin?
Here, I'm going to go back.
I didn't know anything. I just asked one just because I thought it was the right thing to do. Not that I thought anything.
Okay, this is where he talks about the toxic part. Sorry.
Okay. But exhibits that. That's something I've learned through all this stuff. People assume things.
Wait a minute.
You can say that Big Bird.
Okay.
Ask you this question right now. Obviously, if you want to talk more, and I can text with you and we can get something scheduled if you want to do that. Obviously, because with this type of a situation, there are no more secrets about your past.
So this is where he's going to talk about, anybody can lie in an affidavit. Anybody can lie in a police report. Big Bird and Cookie Monster and all the rest.
Or anything that you've done in the legal system. So that's, been out there. That being said, obviously there's a lot of documents back and forth. Her filing reports against you, you filing reports against her. And so if you ever want to chat about any of that, again, respectfully, and from your version, we're happy to give you that platform.
There's something I learned through this that I don't think the world knows. I don't think America knows. And that is, on a police report, you can lie and say anything you want to say. You can say that Big Bird killed Cookie Monster on Sesame Street, and they have to write it down.
Correct.
And so a lot of people take police reports as fact. It's not fact that somebody said it. The other thing you can do is people can actually line affidavits. You can write anything you want to in an affidavit, and it doesn't matter. That's why it's important whenever you're trying to find truth in the affidavit. You look for what exhibits that. That's something I've learned through all this stuff. People assume things. People are incredibly Someone says about an autopsy. You're not going to answer, are you?
Why no autopsy?
I asked for an autopsy when I was there Sunday, and I asked I either asked the head nurse or asked the medical examiner, somebody.
How would you not remember
They just brushed
that?
me off and said, "There's no need. There's no need." And I said, "I didn't know anything. I just asked for one just because I thought it was the right thing to do. Not that I thought anything. I just
Righteous J.P. Miller.
thought that's what you're supposed to do when someone you love dies young. You just ask for an autopsy." And but then I said, well, what about, finding out if she was on medicine or what kind of medicine or if she was pregnant or anything like that? And they said, you need a toxicology report. I said, okay, well, I want that. So they said, yes. So a toxicology report was ordered, and I'll have the results of that. I think they said it could take months, but it could be anywhere from 3 more weeks to 3 months. So
there was a story here, and I live in the Nashville area, but there's a story here in Nashville. I don't know how closely you follow this type of stuff, but Riley Strain, a young college kid who was here from Missouri, fell into a river. Anyways, they ordered his toxicology. I think 3 months later, we were still waiting on it, and it just finally came back. And even now, the results haven't been officially released, so it can take a while.
Yeah. And I don't know if it'll be able to even tell me what I want to know, but we'll see. We'll see. What's the later? What cousin? Someone just said Satan. Was that a question, or was that just a comment?
Again, I told you we can turn the comments off if you prefer that.
I didn't. No, I don't think it. No, not at all. If we sign anything, I don't. There's no making family do anything. Why to put I didn't put a tracking device.
Yes, you did, you liar.
I told him to make sure if she was near a gun store to give me a call. And also thought that maybe there was some other reasons. You'll see that next week.
I didn't catch that before. He said, I didn't put a tracking device on her car. And then he's saying, I told the sheriff that it was worried she was near a gun store, and starts mumbling about some other crap. He is just such a bold-faced liar again and again and again and again. Good job, Justin, on TikTok for, getting some questions in here.
You'll find the results of that next week.
Are you able to, if not, it's okay. Are you able to kind of give us a hint on what's coming next week? If you can't, that's fine.
No, just everything that shows why she passed away, who's responsible for it, and that I did every single thing a human being could do and far more to try to keep her alive and keep her safe and keep her healthy. I was the only.
So he's saying this is what's going to come out next week. Who was responsible for her death, and that he did everything a human could possibly do to keep her alive and keep her safe. So what exactly is that we're going to be looking for next week, JP?
I went to 48 people in 3 months and told them she needs her lithium, and she does not need to be anywhere near a weapon. And nobody believed me. And I showed them proof that her doctor said she was suicidal, and nobody believed me. And I thought I went to judges, lawyers, doctors, pastors, her friends, and her family. 48 people. And some of those people I went to dozens of times. And anyway, I'm going to run in, everybody. So let's see what else. Anyway, Justin, it was talking to you. Nice seeing you.
I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and answer a few questions, and we'll be in touch.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Justin. Have a good night. Good night.
Okay, so that was that. So I did put in, hey, Double R and Sis Fish and everybody else who Sis Fishes, everybody else who came in. So happy you're here. And I did put the link to come up on panel. I have some more to present to you, but if you do want to come up on panel, certainly come on up, and there is definitely room for that. We'd love to hear what you guys think. So if you want to, speak your mind. Oh, look, my hair's dry. My hair's dry. Almost dry. If you'd like to come up and speak your mind and be part of the conversation, voice to voice, rather than just chatting through your fingers there, you're welcome to come up on panel. I'll put it in the, I did pin it, but I'll put it here in chat once again. Don't be shy. Come on up. Come on up. Double R, did you want to come up? Double R had linked or sent me a link to this interview this morning, and I actually was just getting on my Watch the Obsession email so I could email Justin on TikTok asking permission to use that, because I like to do it that way. And he had sent me that link just at the same time. So Watch the obsession, putting her size 7's guess up. No, I wear not size 9 shoes. I've got big feet for my size. Oh, well, thank you. Sis Fish is liking my vibes tonight. Thanks, girl. Come on up on panel if you want. Double R, where'd you go? Come on up on panel. You don't have to. I won't pressure you guys, but you guys are funny. Oh, good night, Robin. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Good night. You're putting groceries away. Oh, well, geez, by all means, put your groceries away. And then if you want to come up, you're welcome to come up. So I'm going to bring another, we're going to go back to Michael Francis's interview on Sidebar. I'm going to bring that back into the stream because this little part, again, of the interview is just loaded with things that we can take a look at. So there's just so much with this case. I feel like we live stream about it 24 hours a day and not cover everything, you know?
And we're just devastated that they didn't, because John Paul rushed the cremation process during the 911 call. She's so slow and so, but then later there are, I haven't even heard them myself, honestly. I have someone who's going through all that for me and filtering the information, because otherwise the more information I get that sounds off, the more furious I get. And I need to be able to focus and control my emotions. So, but there was screaming going on and such, and that's not something indicative of a self-inflicted. Sounds like a fight. And
okay, wow, there was screaming going on. What is he talking about? So that's another thing that we have a little something we can take a look at here. Oh, I forgot that I uploaded some. Oh my gosh. I uploaded some videos to go along with what we are talking about. And I keep forgetting that I'm smart and I do that. So hold it. I've got to pop them. I got to upload them here really quick. So everybody, well, I'm going to keep playing this while I do that. Okay.
with the bruising on her hands and on her arm, scratches on her hands, indicating defensive wounds. She had scratches on her arms and on her hand. And the coroner in training had the chief coroner with her, but she spoke out and said, well, maybe that's from when they retrieved her from the water. And I said, okay, of course, maybe. Was there blood in those scratches and such? They had no answer. Very disappointing. So I basically said the scratches indicate some type of scuffle or something, because the area where she was, there was no trees or anything anyway. There was no trees in the water. There was nothing there that would have scratched her hands the way they were. This. So, it showed, it indicated that there was, some type of pressure.
You have a theory as to what you believe happened to your daughter?
Okay, well, I'll share what we spoke to about with the.
I'm going to bring up my friend Jay of the channel Guilty of Crime. Everybody should go check out Jay. She has a channel, Guilty of Crime, and she talks about everything true crime. And her channel is budding and bustling and growing, and it's just great. So everybody, whoops, she's a blank screen. Hey, say hello to Jay. Are you there, sweetheart? Oh, she dropped down. Come back up if you can, Jay. Come back up. All right. So let me see if that video is done cooking yet. Oh, let's see. Uploading 64%, 63%. Okay, let me keep playing this video until the other material I have for you is done cooking, as I say.
The authorities, the sheriff in North Carolina. Also, as far as with his location, we've seen pictures of his truck. It had dark windows. Was it even him in there? Where's pictures of him physically there? When the car was at the park and then it was collected by the authorities, they didn't check for a tracker, which blew my mind. They said, oh, we have all the evidence and everything. We asked them, was there a tracker on her car? And they said, well, we didn't check. And we were flabbergasted. This happened over and over during that interview. Why didn't you check that? We know that there was 3 or 4 trackers put on her vehicles. Why wouldn't you check to see if she was followed? They said, oh, there's no cameras, but we know she wasn't followed. Her car is just out here. And I said, well, there's no trackers. They said, no tracker. I said, well, they could have removed it after they did the deed. So then Mica's mother, Angelita, she said, pretend this is Mica's hand. And she asked me, grab this hand. And then she pulled it up, you know, and said, it looks like someone squeezed her hand and raised it up and shot.
Okay, so there's that. Oh, was that all I had of that? Damn. Okay. Thought I had a little more of that interview. So let's see. My video looks like it's still cooking. Wait up, just a minute. It's all on the way. Okay, so in that video, I just want to go back and focus on the part that where actually, you know what? I can play it. I can play this differently. Hold it. I don't have to wait for that. Okay, here, I'm going to bring it into the stream this way. I got it, guys. I got you. Oh, first, let me bring up Jay of Guilty with Crime. Guilty of crime, not guilty with crime, guilty of crime. Hey, Jay, how's it going, girl?
It's going well. It's hard for me to stay away from the computer.
I know. It's so nice to see you, though. I'm glad that you aren't able to get away.
Oh, my
look,
goodness.
we're both on camera. We can say hi.
You look beautiful. I get to see you.
We both got like the purple lighting thing going on, too.
Thank you.
Oh my God, I have a
cold.
I love your
Thank
look.
you.
Oh, girl, go ahead.
I just have a cold this week, and I'm trying to rest. But this is resting since I was watching your show anyway.
Nice. Well, I hope you feel better. We've got a couple other people backstage, so I'm going to bring up Jay May and Kurt Stacy. So awesome. Let's bring them up. Hey, Jay May, how are you doing?
I'm good. I don't want to go on camera because I look like heck, but
okay. You're kind of just like pointed upwards. I can see like your glasses and your forehead.
Yeah, see, you can see my gray hair, but I don't want to show my face. No. I have a question. I'm wondering if anybody noticed when Mica was in the pawn shop, there was this one customer that was loitering around, and he never looked at anything or picked anything up. And he was a tall, skinny, youngish person in a white shirt, and I think he had a hat on. And he was just milling around. And when the other customers all left and it was just Mica, this guy didn't come to the counter and ask for help or anything. And I didn't see him leave the store. But I've always suspected that that guy was tailing her. And she probably didn't recognize him because JP probably has a lot of people that she doesn't know following her. And that bothered me.
Completely legitimate to think that, oh, there's Kurt Stacy. So Kurt, just 1 second, honey. Let's see. I'm gonna bring Kurt Stacy up so he doesn't get lost, but then I want to let you finish what you're saying there. Just 1 minute, Kurt Stacy. So happy you're here. Jay May, I personally think it's totally possible that Mica could have had someone tracking her. People have talked about that person that you're talking about, other suspicious people that they got their eyeballs on, and also, you know, vehicles, like that one vehicle that is at the gas station that is a truck that's the same color as JP. I don't think it's JP's truck, but I mean, with the pattern of behavior that he displayed and the way he was just all over her shizzle all the time, like not letting her have any freedom of his own. And all these people that he had in his close inner circle, all who have criminal records. JLR Investigates just did a little bit last night about some other people, and he's doing great coverage on this case, guys. Go check out JLR Investigates, doing great coverage on this case. And, you know, he just uncovered 2 more people that are in John Paul's inner circle. All they have criminal pasts and are totally shady ass. Your dog is so cute.
She looks better than I do today. Well, and then the other thing that I was wondering about was while Mica was in the pawn shop, her watch was going off. It was flashing like she's getting text after text or message after message. And when that happened, she instantly, her body reflected, you know, her shoulders sank and she looked really affected by it in a negative way. And I think JP was blowing up her phone because I think he's part of this whole plan to get her out there where Winslow and their little cabal can have their way. And she was really affected by this constant text thing.
Agitated. I saw that too. Yeah.
You did. Yeah. So that was her watch going off, wasn't it?
I think it was. And you know, one thing that her best friend Charlotte said was this. So let me just add that it's a piece of information that's totally relevant to that. She said, you know, she was talking about, she really just does not think that Mica did this of her own hand. And she said pretty much what she said was the only way I could imagine her doing this is if JP somehow got her yet new number, because she had to get a new phone number several times to try to get away from JP. If JP got her new phone number And she was like, oh my God, I just give up. That she felt so desperate that she just could not get away from this man, no matter what she did, a restraining order, filing for divorce, changing her number 4 times. You know, that is the only thing I could think of that would make me feel like maybe she became so desperate. She was like, I just can't go on anymore. But she said, but way more than that, you know, my mind says that there's no way that she would have done this. So it's very interesting.
Well, yeah, and JP said that when he announced it in the sermon, he said it was self-induced. That's very different than self-inflicted.
So I noticed that
Self-inflicted means
too. What do
you
you
did
think
it to
about that?
yourself.
Yeah.
Self-inflicted means I did it to myself. Self-induced means you brought it on yourself. So I think that was
Right.
kind of a slip. That was a
Yeah.
big, that was a tell, you know?
I picked up on that too, and I haven't been able to like explain why it like in my gut it irks me. It makes my guts twist. Like but that's exactly it. Thank you so much. That's perfect. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Let me say hello to Kurt Stacy and just welcome him up here too, because our friend Kurt Stacy is on
What's up,
panel too.
man?
How are you doing, friend?
I'm doing great.
Looking good as always.
Thank you.
The hair, the wonderful hair.
I know. Kurt Stacy
What's up,
is
man?
wonderful everything.
Hey.
So say hello to Jay and Jay May. We got 2 J's up here.
Yes.
So what are you thinking, Kurt Stacy?
I smell a rat.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, that's my reaction to this.
Yeah.
He
A lot more.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
A dead rat.
Yeah. A rotting rat.
Just like listening to his how he describes everything that went on. I mean, it totally reminds me of any other person that has, that's an authority of a church, pushing things aside and saying, she did this, she did that. It's or even like the Murdoch.
It's typical narcissistic behavior.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's and for him not to be so upset that his wife is dead when he goes on these panels with these other people, right?
Yeah.
And
I think he's a pathological liar, though. I think he pathologically just lies, and he's used to it all the time. So he's just constantly lying about things, and it just comes natural to him.
It's his baseline.
And he
it's his baseline, absolutely.
Yes, man. He can do that because he's used to standing up in front of people in a congregation and preaching the word. But I mean, it's just like, well, I mean, in my mind, this was what was supposed to happen. So, how can you go and preach? What was it like? Not even 24 hours.
No, not even 24 hours. I mean, it was at like 11 p.m. the night before when I think that they officially kind of closed things up at the scene or whatever. And then the sermon was just before noon on the next day after he preached 2 sermons. I say this, it just blows my mind. It took the last 94 seconds to be precise to announce.
If your wife is dead, if you really loved her, you're going to be in a state of shock.
He already had a girlfriend. He already had a girlfriend.
I know. Well, I know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he was in shock at all.
I mean, if this was all squeaky clean,
it's a tip of the iceberg.
Wouldn't you be so upset that your wife? I mean, here we go. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's just so obvious about what's going on here.
I want to play for you the little bit that I have like prepared for you, and it's about the 911 calls. And I want to guys stay up here because I want to see what you have to say. And I just also want to say welcome. Let's see, Gothic. Oh,
just call her Bree.
How do I say this? Gothic.
Just say Bree. Just call her Bree. That's one of my
Watch
moderators.
Awesome. Watch the
Yeah.
Obsession membership. Oh, thank you. And Sharky,
Thanks,
thank you
Bree.
so much for the $5 super chat. Says great channel and community. Oh, thank you so much. The community here is the best. I love you guys. Thank you all so much for being here. And thank you guys for being up on panel. So I'm going to play this about the 911 calls. There's a few little segments I have because Dad was just talking about how he says and he just kind of brushes over it. And I was wondering, like, what is he talking about? He says, in the 911 call, you can hear screaming in the background, and that doesn't seem more like a self-unalivening. That seems more like a struggle. So maybe we have a little bit of insight here. Now, the first thing I'm going to play, I have no way of verifying this about the extended 911 call, but it's being said, it's out there. So I just want you guys to hear it, and you can see what you think about it, okay? All right, bringing this in along with my friends. Yeah, I have friends. I'm so excited about that.
On a Friday night, baby.
On a Friday night. glad you guys are here. Let's see. All right.
Young woman who goes by the name on TikTok by Kim, she had access to an extended version of the 911 call. And when I say extended, I just mean before the call.
Now, my question is, how does this person have access to an extended version of the call? Now, what is said here is exactly in line with what Michael Miller's dad says, but I want to know more about this. So if anyone does know more about this, please let us know.
This all took place on April 27th from Mica Miller. Keep in mind, the original version of the call ended with the operator saying, "Let me make sure I have the exact location of where you're at, okay? Just 1 minute." And then that's when the end of the call was for us viewers. There's actually more there before the call hangs up. So Kim decided to use the equipment that she has to enhance and focal separate the actual call. At the end of the call, you can hear commotion in the background. Sounds that can't clearly be established, but you can clearly hear that there are individuals in that call on Mica's end, not the operator's end. A lot of people have been saying that the noises in the background was from the background noise at the actual location of the 911 operator. However, that's not the same thing that we are hearing. Full disclosure, the person who separated this video has already sent this information to investigators. Take a listen.
Turn, wait. Grab her arm, help. Get set. And then the 911 call technically ended. So
okay,
when
so
let me
go back on that just a little bit. So this is what this person, Kim, a TikToker, who says she has access to this extended call, which is just a little bit after supposedly the call ends for us, when the call doesn't really terminate. And she says this is what she hears. And again, the dad says that in the 911 call, they're screaming in the background, and that doesn't really imply a self-unalivening. That implies a struggle. So what is up with this? And does anyone know more about this than I do?
Take a listen.
Turn, wait. Grab her arm, help. Get set. And then the 911 call technically ended.
Now, also, grab her arm is also consistent with what we just heard Michael Francis saying about the injuries that he says the family saw on her body and the day that they went to the viewing. I mean, my God, just imagine how hard that was for those family members that they saw bruises and scratches on her arm and bruises on her hand. He says in one of the interviews that Mica Miller's mom says to him, it was like this, and has the father grab her hand, like somebody took her hand and held it up to her head. I mean, if it's like that, really, we don't know, but that's what she says. Let me just play the rest of this here.
So when I hear the playback, the hair's just stuck up on my arms. I was like, oh my gosh. So Kim seems to think that this person is saying grab her or get the gun and the help call. This is also what Mica's dad heard on his version of the call. He says that there was definitely someone else involved. Remember, he did an interview with Law and Crime, and he said that he listened to the call and it didn't sound like Mica at all. But what he did hear was something like a fight or a tussle, which would explain the bruises on her hands. So this audio will definitely determine if Mica was alone in that swampy area, and she wasn't, clearly. After all the information is sent to the FBI, hopefully there will be enough to actually open back up Mica's case. There's
Okay,
so
now what
much
she
to be
says here,
done.
this channel is like Tough Topics or something. I have to grab it and put it in the description box. I like to link the channels I use. Now she says, hopefully there will be enough to reopen the investigation. So I just want to correct that there is an open FBI investigation on pertaining to the death investigation. Now, as I've told you guys all along, since I did my first live stream on this case, which was like, I don't know, maybe a week after it happened, from what I was able to find out from my uncle, who's a retired police captain in Horry County, where this happened. Myrtle Beach is in Horry County. You know, we were talking about this, and as he and I were talking about this, we spoke about after the fact. He did not realize that it wasn't something that was going to be disclosed publicly, but during the course of our conversation, he did say that yes, the FBI is absolutely involved in the death investigation. At that point, the whole world knew that Robeson County Sheriff's Department had called in the FBI for help, but they didn't really say anything more about that. They didn't say what they pertain to. Well, he was able to learn through the people that he talks to, because he's so embedded in the law enforcement community in that county, that yes, the FBI has been involved all along in the death investigation. Whether they've been saying so or not, that's another matter. The FBI doesn't ever need to say what they're investigating. It's been just recently in the past 48 hours or so when they are saying, yes, we are involved in the death investigation. So I just want to clarify that there. So there's no need to reopen that. It's already open.
Mica's ashes are even going to be tested, since there was no way to get a toxicology report since she was cremated. All the interviews from bystanders, ring camera footage.
Now, again, we have just last night, JP, when he did that impromptu interview on Justin on TikTok, he says that there was a toxicology ordered. That's yet to be seen by all of us.
And anything else that can put some of these pieces to the puzzle together. If you want to help find justice for Mica, I will put the link in my description box below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can be updated on everything that comes in. Thank you guys for watching. Bye for now.
And I do also want to let you know that on this channel in the last week that I was,
Robeson County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Hold up. Where I said half of the revenue is going to go to Justice for Mica. We raised almost $500, I think. I don't have the final number in yet, but you know, I will be putting receipt up of that. It's absolutely going to Justice for Mica. I'm proud and happy to help out that family. I so much believe in this cause, and thank you guys for helping out with that as well. And maybe we'll do it again. If they need money, we will do it again. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. So let's listen to the 911 call here so we can just all hear it for ourselves. So we are going to be playing the 911 call. Trigger warning. If anybody, you know, doesn't want to hear this, it's about 2.5 minutes long. And then after that, there's an analysis from another person about what they hear in the background in the 911 call.
Let's see.
Hi, are you able to trace the location of my phone?
Let me see.
We'll call
You don't know where you're at?
A national park.
What's the phone number you're calling me from?
843-655-5242.
Where's the park located at?
In Bear Bluff.
Let's see.
I have my location on, I think, on my phone. And my phone is on. I just did my my location.
Okay, I'm showing. Hold on 1 second.
Who is this, Kelly?
This is Mica Miller's 911 call,
Okay.
supposedly.
I don't think you are in Robeson County. Yeah, the Lumber River State Park.
Yeah, that's where I am.
Okay. Tell me what's happened.
I'm about to kill myself, and I just want my family to know where to find me.
Okay, ma'am. Just listen to what
Thank you,
I'm saying,
Nancy.
okay? Let me make sure I got the exact location where you're at, okay? Just 1 minute.
Hi, it's me. I said I was never going to make another video on this, but then
Okay,
again,
hold up. I just want to
took my ex back. So
You said the pin comment is blocking something, so I just want to unpin it. So what do you guys think? Go ahead, panel. Tell us what you think so far.
Well,
Sounds forced.
Kurt, Jay,
Yeah,
Amy?
I don't.
Sounds forced.
I think the phone call is definitely AI, and Winslow is the lawyer is very proficient in AI. And if she wanted her family to find her remains, why would she jump in the water and kill herself? It's harder to find a person in the
Right.
water. Why would she just stay in her
And
car?
how do you jump in the water and shoot yourself in the head? The whole thing doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
Right?
It definitely sounds forced though. The way she's saying it and her pausing and everything about it seems
911
like
call is uneasy, right? All around, it's just like an
it is.
uneasy call.
I think
And why
it's definitely AI.
why justice for Mica Miller Mica, whatever, yeah, Mica Miller, if she did do that to herself? Why did he even say that we're gonna get justice for
Right.
Mica? If she did that, there is no
Right.
justice. You did that and we
Yep.
mourn.
Yep.
I think he's doing too many interviews and he's gonna catch himself slipping up. They're gonna look into he's slipping up hard. I've seen him on a lot of different things.
Yeah, I was saying earlier, I was like, the best advice anyone could give him now is to shut up at all
Just
costs.
shut up.
Not that we want him to, but if he was
No,
looking out what was good for himself, that's what he would definitely
he's
be
looking
doing.
for he wants attention. He was showing his tattoos off and trying to he was definitely trying to get out there as much as he
And aren't
can.
those tattoos his marriage vows? Haven't you guys heard that? Like, I remember him talking about the tattoos being his marriage vows and that he was such a chicken. Like, Mica would be like, oh, let's go get a tattoo. And she wanted to get the vows tattooed. And he was like, oh, but I didn't want to do it because tattoos hurt. But then there was this cream that you can put on that's going to numb your skin. But then when you just asked about it, he just said it's his favorite. It's just.
He did it. And I think he's just lying. It just comes out naturally.
Right. Yeah, like you said. Yeah, totally.
Now that the FBI is investigating, he's probably getting a little nervous and he's thinking, I need to come out and say justice for Mica too.
Right.
And
Even though it makes no sense.
And
But
maybe
justice
he
for
wasn't
what?
with the cabal that did this. Maybe he was away from it, but I can't imagine him letting this go on without him seeing it. He seems like that kind of a sicko.
Yeah.
But what if he's going to try to create a little doubt about his involvement so he can throw Winslow under the bus?
Right.
When the FBI gets the fact. Does anybody know if Winslow has a building or a home or any kind of structure on his property?
Now, see, I was wondering that as well. And I've been looking into that. I can't, like, when you look on like Google Earth, you can't, I did have that on Google Earth. You can't identify any structure. And then earlier we were looking at that like drone footage here. It's right here. Let me bring that in. And I feel like if there was any structure on the property, the people, because it was like Kyler, not Tyler, who knew Mica, and Ellie Investigates and that whole group on TikTok, I feel like they would have caught the structure, the abode on the property, and they didn't. So I don't know for sure, but all of that anecdotal stuff leads me to believe that there was not. But that is a really good question. Let me just play this drone footage really quick, because I just think it's really interesting. You can just see how the foliage and everything about it is just very similar to, you can tell it's leading into a building that they would have caught that. But I mean, is what you're thinking, J. May, is that the lawyer somehow summoned her to the property?
Exactly. I think he called her and said, "Oh, I've worked it out with JP. We're going to give you a fair divorce, and I've got all the paperwork. Why don't you drive up here? I'm out here on my property. Why don't you drive up here and you sign it, and I can notarize it, and then you'll be good to go." And I think what else to get her to go up there? And then I think there's no way that they did this in the park. There's too much risk of somebody seeing them. I think they did it on his property, and then
it's the second location.
Yeah, I think it was on his property. Then they put her in a boat and went down the river and threw her in the water and staged a scene.
And if it was on his property, he has 200 acres out in the middle of nowhere, in, let's see, what season? So where it was in, it was in the spring in North Carolina. So this is going to be a very wet season. There's going to be a lot of rain. There's going to be a lot of, rain washing things away, foliage growing in. It would be a very difficult place to find evidence.
Right. And the other thing is
evidence.
There was a time gap after she left the pawn shop, between the pawn shop and the 911 call. We all assumed she was in the park when we first heard the 911 call.
Mhm.
And there was 45 minutes extra in how long it took her to get there.
Well, I think that wasn't it released, or am I making this up in my mind? There's so much about this case. Wasn't it released that the location of the 911 call was definitively in the parking lot of Lumber River State Park?
The exact
I think it was. I think it was. But I'm gonna have to look into that.
They could have. I don't know. I just don't think they'd risk doing it in the park.
Yeah, but although it was such a remote part of the park, but we also do know that there were people there, and that's a good point.
Well, if they did, they're stupid, because, and if I, as far as
that's the official. They're stupid.
Who found her bag?
Uh-huh.
If I heard someone crying and then heard a gunshot, I would not start rolling around and looking for stuff. I would be hiding.
Yeah. And if I did find something, I would probably want to leave it there, preserve it, then call 911. I wouldn't touch it. And right.
Yeah, so that's fishy to me too. I mean, he sounds like a good old boy, and I'm sure there's lots of good old boys, but there's a lot of good old boys sitting in that church too.
JP can sound like a good old boy too when he wants to.
Yeah, and so I just think it's weird. I try to put myself in the situations these people are describing, and I think maybe I'm abnormal, but if I heard a woman crying and then a gunshot, the last thing I'd do is start looking around. I'd be skedaddling.
Very few people run towards the sound of gunfire, heroes do that, not the average person, we know that from like school shootings and things like that. Go ahead, Kurt.
Do I get to say anything?
You know how it is when you're the only man on panel.
You gotta, you just gotta speak up, man. I have a lot to say. Go for it, dude.
Just pummel you
I'm just saying that recording that you played, Kelly. Don't you think that if she had been in that situation, she would have been a little more
vocal?
Yes.
I want to read this one comment because it goes along with what you're saying. Then I'm going to go right back to you, but I don't want to keep it perfect. I'm going to forget.
And more of a heightened state of emergency.
Yeah,
I mean, that
absolutely.
sounded too lax.
I know. I know.
And, I mean,
So-
if her life was on the line, you think she would have been like,
But I mean, if it was somebody coercing her into making that call, who knows under what circumstances they presented to her to force her to do that. Maybe it was
yeah, but still, you would still
Sure.
pick up on
Right.
some kind of urgency about it,
But
right?
if you're thinking the one thing I need to do for me to save my life is to make this 911 call for whatever reason, and then they're going to let me go, then you might try your damnedest to make that phone call. But I don't know. But I just want to read this one comment.
It just sounded too relaxed.
It did.
But you nailed it. Kelly nailed it because you said if someone forced you, you would sound like that. And that's exactly what I'm thinking. If
Yeah.
somebody forced her, that's why she was so calm. Sorry, go ahead and read your comment.
That is what it sounds like though to me. It
That's
definitely does.
exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah, it's everything about it is unsettling. So Violet Persuasion, great name by the way, says, I believe it could be AI, but then why would artificial intelligence scream help and grab her arm or whatever in the distance at the end of the call? That's such a good point because it really can only be one way or the other, right? It's like if we want to believe one of those scenarios or the other, it's AI or that is the authentic phone call, and there, you can hear, grab her arm and all of that in the background. And I think Feminine wanted us to play that audio again. That was where the voices were separated. So I'm going to do that really quick, and then I'm going to give it back to Kurt for a second because I cut him off, telling him I was going to give it back to him, and then I lied again. But just 1 second, let me bring this right back in. We can listen to that one more time. Kurt, we love you.
I know.
Yeah, all love.
Has already sent this information to investigators. Take a listen.
Turn, wait. Grab her arm, help. Get set. And then the 911 call out.
I don't know. It's weird. What do you have to say, Kurt?
That help sounds more like a man than a woman to me.
It does. And somebody else commented, her voice sounds rather deep, and it does there. But if with Mica, we know that her dad said that she confirmed that she was, yes, forced to take testosterone by JP, even though, to raise her libido. And people had said that her dad confirmed it. And he said that it ruined her God-given gift of that beautiful voice she had. Now, after he said that, I was like going through her videos of her singing at the church over time. And you can see markedly how her voice drops in tone and tenor. Like her voice deepens considerably over time. And by the last couple of times she sang, it was almost like, and I'm so sorry for saying this, Mike, and I know it's not your fault, but it's almost like she wasn't really a good singer anymore because she didn't have any range. You know what I mean?
Right. Let me ask you this because I'm a singer.
Okay.
Why would you want a woman's voice?
Well, he didn't want her voice to get lower. He wanted her to be more interested in sex.
Yeah,
because apparently he needed to.
That would be estrogen on a woman's side, right?
No, testosterone. I actually looked into this briefly when I had heard about that because I wanted to know what I was talking about. But testosterone is the libido increasing hormone for both.
Oh, I know. I don't have that anymore right now because, as we know, from the discussions that
you're perfect anyway.
Oh, thank you.
Too much testosterone can do bad things, right, Kurt?
Well, that's what happened, and anyway, with my cancer journey. Anyways, so but I didn't know that worked on women too.
It does, yeah, it does. I had to look that up myself because I was a little confused about that, but it does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have another question, please.
Yes, go for it.
I'm sorry, Kurt. This just be real quick.
Okay. No, it's okay.
I don't understand.
All this plays into what we're talking about tonight. So, I mean, go ahead.
I don't understand why the 911 operator just so casually accepted that this person just said what she was going to do and don't 911 people like have a quick button to suicide hotline or something?
Yeah, you know,
Yes.
there was a 911 dispatcher who did like a review of the 911 call, and she, you know, she was noting things like the vast length of time. Like it seems as though that 911 I'm sorry, and I don't mean to be critical, but it just doesn't it seem to you guys like that 911 dispatcher was not really on the ball? Like she's not the person you want answering if you were an emergency and had to call 911.
Exactly.
Like she didn't know what to say to her, but she also it's hard to say something when someone tells you something in that voice that didn't move at all. Like there was no, I think people think it's AI because she was so monotone. I don't think it was AI,
Yeah.
but I do think somebody forced her to say that, and she was almost trying to get a reaction from the lady like, wait a minute, are you like wanted her to say something else so she can catch her tone, but it was just flat.
Right.
So I don't know if it was the I don't know that it
very
was the
confusing.
Yeah, but what
maybe if she would
what person, if somebody walked up to me and told me they were thinking of doing this, I would immediately say, stop, I'm coming right over, or let's go sit down. I need to talk to you. Let's work this out. That's not, you don't need to
she
do
should
that.
have said that, but
What
they're
would you do?
supposed to be really calm.
Yeah.
They're trained to be calm.
Yeah.
You can calmly say, I think if you might feel differently in the give it a couple hours. Let's talk about it. Let me
Well,
get you
after Mica said let's listen to that, because after Mica stated her intention, let's see, the operator just said, okay, she said something like, listen to me carefully, and I think that's when she was going to try to start to bring her down, but then the call ended. But let's just listen to that.
Thank you.
Way too long pause. I press play.
I don't think you are in Robeson County. Are you at the Lumber River State Park?
Yeah, that's where I am.
Okay. Tell me what's happened.
I'm about to kill myself, and I just want my family to know where to find me.
Okay, ma'am. Just listen to what I'm saying, okay? Let me make sure I got the exact location where you're at, okay?
So, okay, ma'am, listen to what I'm saying, okay? Let me make sure I've got your exact location. Probably because at that moment she was going to dispatch, you know, first responders.
Yep, she was trying to slow it down.
Yeah, but I mean, it was not a great call. That's definitely right. Well, let's listen to what this other TikTok person says about her breakdown of the call. And then I'll tell you what I think about it, but I want to get your guys' opinion on this. I don't know if you've heard this or not, but let's take a listen to. Her name is Nat something. She's a radio radio
Just
host.
1 minute.
Coming right up.
Hi, it's me. I said I was never going to make another video on this, but then again, I took my ex back 17 times and here we are. So we're talking about the 911 call with Mica Miller. Definitely heard fair bluff, very soft and quick in the background a little bit before Mica says it. Okay. I talk on country music radio. I was just playing around with this because I like true crime. So here's the 911 call. I don't hear it, but then again, I have talked on the radio for 20 years and I've worn headphones for a very long time. So I'm going to use the headphones for this, and then I will turn it up for you guys here. This is...
Where's the park located at?
In Bear Bluff.
Okay, I'm going to turn it up for you because I don't hear anyone in the background.
Now, what you're listening for, what they say you're listening for here is just before Mica Miller or whoever in that call says fair bluff, you can very faintly in the back hear fair bluff. And then she says fair bluff as though like somebody's prompting her to say fair bluff. So listen carefully.
At all. Actually, we'll put it in mono. Let's do that. So put it in mono. We're going to turn it up like this. All right.
Where's the park located at?
In Fair Bluff.
I think I just heard it. Hold on. What?
Did you guys hear that?
Yeah. Right there.
Yeah.
What did it say? What was it supposed to have said? It went really quick.
Fair Bluff.
Yeah, I'll play it again.
Okay.
Guys, I heard it. Right there.
Right there.
Right there.
Fair Bluff. Yeah.
Oh, it's
Right
too
there.
much. I think y'all were right. That's wild.
In
I love her.
Hi, it's me. I
Well,
said I
here,
was
gonna
never
play
going
it-
to make
let's play
another
it one more
video on
time for you
this, but
guys,
then again, I
if you didn't catch it.
took my ex back 17 times, and here we are. So we're talking about the 911 call with Mica Miller. Definitely heard Fair Bluff, very soft and quick in the background, a little bit before Mica says it. Okay, I talk on country music radio. I was just playing around with this because I like true crime. So here's the 911 call. I don't hear it, but then again, I have talked on the radio for 20 years and I've worn headphones for a very long time. So I'm going to use the headphones for this, and then I will turn it up for you guys here. This is...
Where's the park located at?
In Fair Bluff.
Okay, I'm going to turn it up for you because I don't hear anyone in the background at all. Actually, we'll put it in mono. Let's do that. So, let's put it in mono. We're going to turn it up like this. All right.
Where's the park located at?
In Fair Bluff.
I think I just heard it. Hold on.
It's right before that.
Yeah.
What?
Right there.
Yeah, Fair Bluff. Okay, so now I just want to read this one comment. Then I'm going to go to you guys and see what you think. So this is I never even thought of this. So, whoops. Let's see. I have to make this bigger so I can read it. Mina Russell, and welcome, Mina. How are you doing? Says, I think that voice is possibly her GPS saying Fair Bluff. Mine works when I'm on a call when listening to directions. That is a really good. I never even thought of that. I recently got a new car. I love my car. My little baby. I call her Precious. And the GPS in that car, I think it would sound very much kind of like that sort of monotone. That's how she gives directions. Precious does not have much personality in her GPS, but lots of personality in every other way. So I never even thought of that. That's like a really interesting thought there, Mina. Thank you. So what do you guys think?
I think it was prompted. I mean, if we're gonna go on theories, she was the way she said it absolutely sounded like she was asking the lady a question, and that somebody the whole time it sounds like it's prompted and somebody's telling her. I don't think that there was all these
Fair Bluff. Like Fair Bluff?
Fair Bluff. Like she's asked, she was way too monotone. I sent you a thing in the private chat if you want to take a look after
sure,
this.
yeah.
There's a TikTok, Texas crime traveler. There's a conspiracy theory about the AI, but I'm not a conspiracy theorist. So I'm always looking for like the most reasonable explanations. Yeah. So no, but I sent you that TikTok if you want to play
How do you
it.
make your TikTok so big? Her TikTok like takes up the whole screen. I'm just learning TikTok. When I show mine, they're like this. How do you do that? Do you have the app for your desktop? Is that why?
Yes, I have good moderators. She just sent it to
Oh.
me, my mod. Bree,
Okay, all
thank
right.
you.
I'm gonna have to figure that out. I might need to dial up your mod. Here, okay, well, let's take a look at that. I've seen this guy before and I like him. I am not just no, I am also, as many of you guys know, I am not a conspiracy theorist either, but sometimes there is something to the theories, and all of a sudden it's not conspiracy, but it's reality, right? So we have to keep our minds open for that. It's been hard for me to do, but it's true. All right, so this
Me
is
too.
what Jay from Guilty of Crime just sent us. And could some moderators would you mind grabbing her channel link and popping in the chat, because Jay has a channel and she's great, so we want to go support Jay.
Thank you.
Here's this dude. What's his
on the Mica Miller case is unbelievable. We've been reviewing all of the comments you guys left on our last couple of videos, and several people have brought up the theory that Mica's voice on the 911 recording could potentially be AI, that she didn't actually make the call. There are also reports that JP's lawyer specializes in the use of AI. This is all alleged, of course. Sounds impossible, right? That someone could take an audio recording of their voice, upload it to a software, give it a script, and get an AI-generated clone of their voice in less than 1 minute. And surely you would know if you were hearing the AI version of someone's voice, right? What if I told you that you're listening to an AI-generated clone of my voice right now, and I have yet to actually speak in this video? Would you believe that it's possible then? So what you just heard was a cheap, free, AI-generated program that recreated my voice. Got pretty close.
Yeah.
So all the allegations in the Mike Miller case that AI was used to call 911 have to be taken seriously at this point. I did not realize how advanced this stuff and how scary this stuff is getting. So it just has to be considered. It's part of the case. We're going to stay on this thing. There is more to this. Thanks for your questions and comments. Keep them coming.
No, great video. Yeah, and a video I made, I did a little. The Robbie Harvey did something like that, but he recreated Mica Miller's voice, and he did just a portion of that 911 call. And hot damn, it sounded exactly like the 911 call as we hear it. Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
yeah. So say what you're saying, Kurt. It's your turn. Bring the men up.
Man.
Bring them up.
Here.
Come on, Kurt.
It's here comes like Terminator, right?
Right.
We're living in the age of
crazy.
Sophisticated technology. So
That's
here we go.
Yeah, I mean, I think, before this case, I think, I don't know if a lot of you feel the same. I feel like I was very ignorant to the capabilities of AI. It's just really through researching this case where I'm seeing things like that, where I'm like, oh my God, that's terrifying. I don't want someone to be able to recreate my voice precisely so anyone in the world can make me say anything they want at any time for any reason to anyone. No.
Right. I mean, think about that. I mean,
yeah.
What's going to happen?
Yeah. It's wild.
Well, they're looking at it as a crime. If they're looking at it as a crime, that means she didn't do it herself. Something happened, right?
Yeah. I mean,
other than her doing it herself, but it was just way too.
Yeah, the fact
all
that
the
the FBI
circumstances.
is in on the death investigation right now. I mean, they would not be if they weren't damn sure.
No.
I mean, how often does the FBI get in on a death investigation that's already been called when it doesn't turn out to be foul play?
Yes, exactly. Not often.
No.
And even when it isn't, even when it is foul play, they still, no, they did it. We're done. There's too many suspicious circumstances, and they must know more than we do.
They must. Now,
I would hope.
I would hope so. My God, if they don't, we're all in big trouble, y'all. I actually want to take a look at the. Let me see if I can bring this up. What is the? If I can find it here, it's in my. Let's see. What I think sometimes people we're losing sight of what it is exactly the Robeson County Sheriff's Department did yield out as the their like official report on the death of Mica Miller, because it's bullshit. It's so like, it's terrible. So if I can find that here, I want to take a look at it. I mean, it's here somewhere. I'm just gonna keep flipping through it. J May, are you still with us, my darling?
Yeah, I'm just listening.
Okay, cool. Very good, very good. Kurt, you have anything else to say right now?
No, it's this whole thing just baffles me. I mean, it's just and how fake. Well, I better keep my mouth shut.
No, you can say it. Say it, Kurt. Speak your mind.
What you introduced before, I mean, when he was being interviewed by those people, I mean, if your wife has just been killed and you really loved her and you're just sitting there talking about how many likes you get on your page because of all the things that are generated, I mean, what does that say?
I know.
Really? Did you love your wife, or are you more important, or is how many generated likes you're getting for your church?
I know.
Remember, he was already, he's a bad guy anyway. I mean, he was cheating on her probably the whole time. And I mean, you could be a bad guy and not a murderer, but there's a whole bunch more than that.
Yeah.
The whole thing is just so bizarre. I mean, it's just, I didn't really know that much about this case until I watched all the information that you presented tonight. But I mean, it doesn't rocket scientists to look at this and see what's going on.
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
I mean, it's just, and he was trying to act all, upset and all that, but I didn't see it.
Terrible actor.
Yeah.
He's one of those hidden in plain sight guys, right?
Yeah.
If he's in plain sight, then he's not hiding.
That's right. That's
what
right.
he thinks. That's what he thinks. No,
that's right.
A lot of people do that.
And I can tell you, the only thing that he was worried about was how this was going to affect his business, which is his church, and the money coming in.
Oh yeah. I mean, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. He's a very gluttonous bastard.
Yes, I'm gonna quote that when I do a video.
What was it? What did that
gluttonous
video?
bastard?
Yeah.
What was it? A day after the death, and then he's sitting on there on social media.
Yeah, and he's seen having drink with his girlfriend and doing anything but grieving for his wife. And at that time, he wasn't under pressure, so he can't use that excuse.
And that wasn't. I started looking at that, and I didn't really watch the case. Like everybody flooded the channel, and I noticed you came a little later too, because you're kind of like me. Like you want to report on something that's actually a crime, not just what people think.
Right, exactly.
Right. So I was just thinking like, okay, this guy's a bad dude, but it's not a crime yet that I can see.
He's a bad actor, but that's all he might be.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. All I just saw was just a bad dude. So I was like, I'm not going to even get into this because right now I don't see anything.
Yeah.
But now it's a different story.
It is a different story. It's like every piece of information that comes out is incriminating for this man. He should be terrified. But he's so mean. He's just getting on a live stream with Justin on TikTok, and he's just so amused.
But if he goes on,
that's so nice.
No, if he goes on interviews, he's not guilty though, right?
Right.
Scott Peterson.
Right. And he's like, I know my wife, but he was. You could totally tell it was so freaking fake. I mean,
yeah.
But what was his crime?
He's a malignant narcissist. They don't love anybody. And this guy has been spreading BS, and it works. People believe his BS, and they have
in the name of Jesus Christ, right?
In the name of Jesus Christ. All things.
Yeah. Don't get me started on that one. But I think that my dad always said a fool is really a person who believes their own BS. But he leaks his narcissism out all the time, and he tells on himself all the time.
As narcissists tend to do, if you know what you're looking for.
Yeah. Well, he's like a perfect example to introduce people to what a narcissist is,
He
because
truly
it's
is. He's
everywhere
textbook.
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. Well said. Yes. And I know you do know something about that topic with your, you know, group of people I think I picked you up at, right? Wasn't on Pink's channel when I ran into you again recently?
Yes, I'm a mod for her. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the channel Pink that I've been sharing the link, sharing her link to her channel. She talks a lot about narcissism and how to work through narcissistic abuse. And, I met up with her when that one channel like ripped the crap out of me a couple weeks ago out of nowhere. And it turns out that channel has a long history of, being abusive to people like that. And anyway, she has this group of people who talks about true crime and also narcissistic abuse and how that shows up and stuff. So everybody also go check out that channel, Pink. It's a great channel. So
Well,
here
I found you, and I'm so grateful that you came into your channel, because I am really learning so much and enjoying your channel so much, Kelly.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Jamie. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, you guys are so nice. I appreciate that. Now I'm going to play a little bit from this TikToker. Gosh, what is her name? So I think I played her video yesterday where she was talking about the theory of the boat going up the river. I came across this again today. I just thought it was interesting. It says, breaking news, justice for Mica. The fisherman left the scene and came back in a different vehicle. But I think I picked this out because she says some interesting things in here that are above and beyond what we've already heard. But let's take a listen here.
Serious breaking news in this case. Kyler posted some information that we've obviously been sitting on. She's been sitting on for a while. When they went to Lumber River State Park to see the ground, see what was out there, see the place where Mica was found, see the walk, determine how loud it was, how far of a walk it was, if it was unauthorized entry in that area. So basically, like if it was authorized personnel only, which it was, the distance that had to be walked, etc. They also met with a maintenance man while they were out there. And the maintenance man said that Johnny Jacobs, the fisherman, came in a truck with a boat hookup for his kayak and then left the property and then re-entered the property in a white Challenger.
All right, I'm here talking to the maintenance guy from Lumber River State Park. We've discussed the circumstances. Mr. Jacobs was down here initially fishing, had a boat with a truck. He advised me that he left the scene out here with Mica's items. He went to either McClellan Grocery or Floyd's Grocery. I'm talking to the maintenance guy at this point, and he advised me that he came back to this location in a what was it, sir? A white Challenger. So after he had left the scene with Mica's belongings, he returned in a passenger vehicle.
So he left with Mica's belongings for however long of a period of time. This is all alleged, and it was not ever announced publicly on News Nation when they interviewed him, JLR Investigates when they interviewed him, or any of the other interviewing platforms that came to speak with him. I don't know why this information was left out or why he decided to forgo telling that he left the property with her belongings. Obviously, it raises significant suspicions that he had access to her property and left with it and then brought it back in a different car, in a car without a boat hookup or boat tow. This is really huge in the case because for a long time there's been a lot of like pushing, looking away, like it wasn't this guy. But just humor me for a second. And I know that people have been very outspoken against like pointing the finger at Johnny Jacobs. Fine. However, my question is, why was he never fingerprinted? Why was his boat never swabbed? Why wasn't he checked for GSR on his hands? Why was he never vetted? Why didn't they look in his vehicles? Why didn't they have him marked as a person of interest because he left with her items and brought them back?
It's a legit
There was no
question.
questioning done. My concern is that one of the only people that was near the site where she was let go free and clear without ever being questioned, without ever, because he tells you what they asked him. And Robeson County is very clear that they talked to him briefly and then said, thank you so much for her belongings and all of her things and let her go. The other thing that I find really interesting and weird is that she was broke and she paid her car taxes the day before she died and went and bought a $500 POW and somehow had ammo for that as well. And that they also found in her purse $500 cash. So
it is all weird.
That was weird. And that the belongings were brought back for them to do whatever they decided to do with them. I just have a lot of questions. Like, here's one of my main
So do we, girl.
You heard a gunshot go off. You find
I have a
belongings
few
of a woman.
right now.
You take them into your car. You leave off the property with them. And then you come back in a different car and then you hand them over to the police.
Is she?
I know, it's weird.
What?
I know. Like,
I just want cell phone pings. I want
not
text
suspicious at all.
messages.
Yes.
I want evidence, and
Okay, there is some serious breaking news in this case. Kyler posted some
Yeah,
information.
and that's a really good point. I mean, something they really need to, and this can only happen if an investigation of her death continues. Now that the FBI is doing this, so I'm sure that this is being looked into, but we need to know what was going on with Mica's cell phone, because like her best friend Charlotte said, the only way she could see her really kind of going over the edge is if JP yet again got her unlisted brand new number that he wasn't supposed to get because she didn't want him to be harassing her, and that just pushed her over the edge, thinking that, oh my God, I'm never going to get away from this moron.
Right, because it could have been. I mean, she could have.
Yeah.
That's what we need to see. Where was his cell phone? Look at the fisherman's freaking cell phone. Look at all the ping points. I mean, that's what we need. And I think maybe like talking it out is going to keep it open and keep it alive. However, I just love to see evidence, and I can't wait for something to come out.
I don't know. I think he's gonna have burner phone.
Yeah, but they're
yeah,
like
but
they're gonna find it on her phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. They gotta look into all that. They gotta look into the cars have locations, GPS.
Yes.
We
You
need
went right.
real
You went
solid.
right. You went right to the same thing I was thinking. I mean, just like they did in the Murdaugh trial. I mean, I think they went to that extent because of how much of a high profile trial that was.
Yeah, they knew they were going to need everything and the kitchen sink to peg him.
Right. But this is another Southern trial. But I mean, I think they should do this for everybody. I mean,
but they don't even have a suspect really technically, because Mica was, or I'm sorry, what's what's his name? JP. Yeah, he was somewhere else, right? I mean, unless he committed the perfect crime. I just can't wait to see like paperwork. I love paperwork.
I know. I like pie charts.
Yes, I love your timelines and your pie charts.
The data, I like pie charts.
Yes, that's the best thing about your Watts cases is you've got it all time.
You got all
I've got it mapped out, baby. If you want to know about the Watts case, I've got a pie chart for that and that and that and that too.
That's why I came on here to listen to this, because every other channel, they're just like talking it out. But I know you're like, I need my data.
I know, and I'm working on it, and I want to be able to put together a presentation of pure data for this case, but it's just not. It's not gelled.
It's not there either.
It's not
just
right,
not there.
exactly. And I'm just praying it does come together. I just also want to welcome Sis Fish is coming up on panel. Hey, sis girl, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing
What's
good.
up?
We're here with, is J May up here? I think J May hopped down. Well, J May, if you did hop down, thank you for coming up. It was wonderful having you up here. If you want to come back, come back. I'm not sure what happened, but right now we have Jay from Guilty of
Guilty of Crime.
Why am I keep messing that up tonight? It's not that hard, Kelly. And our friend Kurt Stacy.
Hey.
Kurt, hi.
Hi,
How are you
sis.
feeling?
I'm feeling great. Thank you for asking me. I am cancer free right now. I feel great.
Single, ready to mingle.
What'd you say? What did you say?
I said single and ready
He
to
said
mingle.
single, ready to
That's
mingle.
right.
Yeah, you're like you're like sort of near my region. I don't know if you've had like so much crazy rain and stuff, but I am looking forward to summer. I get into these funks kind of like in the winter because it just feels like they last so long. They drag out forever, but like
Yeah.
yeah, spring has been nice, but it's been like so rainy and stuff. And I remember you saying like where you were or whatever. And we've just had so much rain, but you're close and I don't know, it's just good to see you around. I've been so absent. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to
Wait
talk,
1
Kelly,
second,
just to
honey.
say
I hate to
hi.
stop. I hate to stop you, but your audio is
Oh
like
my God.
super
No, I'm
crunchy right
kidding.
now. I think it's one of these things. If you were to just hop off and come right back on, I think it'll fix it because I've had this happen before.
It's probably is that any better?
No. Do you guys hear it? The crunchy audio?
I do.
You do, yeah.
Yes, it's the
Is
story.
it so bad?
Yeah, just
Why
try,
does this always happen to me?
just try to hop down and come right back on because I've had this happen before and that usually fixes it because we want you here.
No, I'm over it. I'm kidding. I'll be right back.
I love my suspicious. Aw, I hate saying that because I don't ever want to lose someone, but it was a little hard to hear. I don't know why. Technology can be so picky.
It could be, yeah.
She
I
is
was going to
AI
do this
too,
from
is
my
that what you're
couch.
saying? Yeah, it was static. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
it was fake.
Yeah, that was a fake suspicious. You might be surprised to know that really wasn't suspicious at all. Now,
Hey,
welcome
they've got
to real
the
suspicious.
what's that called where the AI generate your face? They're doing that to the celebs now.
Oh my
Doing
God,
the
I
face and then
know.
put it on the PORN. So yeah, that's if they could do it with that, they could do it with voice.
Oh gosh. Oh God, that's so creepy. Oh
Yeah,
man.
it is. It's
Oh.
bad.
It's like the Terminator. I mean, like
It is.
technology will overcome human beings.
I know. It's truly
I
is.
hope we're all gone by the time that happens.
We just gotta learn how to. We gotta learn how to program them.
Or that'll be the end of us.
right.
Yeah, right.
That's it.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, let's see.
Come
Is
on,
this
sis.
coming back up here? Hope she comes back
Where are
up.
you on this, Kelly? What are you thinking? Are you thinking someone like what's your theory on this? Do you have a solid theory?
Well, I mean, I think, yeah, I don't have a solid theory. I think, okay, I'm going to actually play for you something that would be, again, now don't everybody throw tomatoes at me. I'm going to play for you the one thing that has been said that makes me question, that makes me, okay, I think that JP Miller absolutely positively pushed her to the limits, to the edge of the ability to live no matter what. I do believe at this point that he was involved in a bigger way in her death, that he had something more than just being abusive and like leaving her out there to linger, that he has something more to do with it than that. Let me say this. The one thing that I have heard that kind of makes me think otherwise is, well, there was that one video where Mica herself said, she was in this bad place and she was, thinking about putting, I think she puts her hand, to her head, says a gun to her head. And I don't remember exactly what was said. I don't want to paraphrase incorrectly, but then also her lawyer was on sidebar. And I just want you guys to listen to what her lawyer says and then kind of get your reaction to it, because was it truly someone else who killed her, who murdered her? I'm leaning towards JP was involved and she did not take her own life. This is, again, the one thing that gives me reservation. So I just have to find it here on this sidebar. Okay, I'm going to bring this into the stream.
Then I'll tell you
Sis,
how
are you
I
coming back
voted
up, honey?
after we
I'm
watch
so
this.
sorry. I did not mean to shoot you down. What's that?
I said after we watch this, I'll tell you how I voted. You had a vote.
Cool. Definitely do.
As amicably as possible. She doesn't want to go after him on fault ground.
Okay, I think there's a little break and then she comes back and she says it's okay. Let's maybe here. Maybe
this June 5th hearing, wherein she was going to ask the court.
This is all very interesting. Her interview, though, with sidebar here. But okay, so that's okay. So it's before this. So we're just gonna have to listen to what she says, I guess. That's such a bad thing. Right here.
Grounds. In South Carolina, to get a divorce, you have to have grounds. It's adultery, which she had evidence of that. Also physical cruelty, which she had evidence of that. And then she didn't want to go that route anymore. She wanted to try to leave the marriage as amicably as possible. She didn't want to go after him on fault grounds and put all of those things out there. She just wanted to be, hey, our relationship is over with. Let's move on.
Here.
Where she says that
Okay, here. Okay. So, all right. Okay, let's go back to a statement that John Paul Miller's dad gave. They're going to talk about that here on Sidebar, and then we're going to listen to what the lawyer says.
Her of stealing that money, and then
she was stealing it. This money was.
Sorry, I'm just got to find my spot.
Of John Paul Miller and father-in-law to Mica Miller. And he insists that his son's relationship with Mica has been misunderstood, that he wants to correct the record. In an email to the Daily Mail, Reginald Miller says, quote, I have a video of Mica on a mission where she tells last year how she took a gun to kill herself and pulled the trigger and the bullet locked in the gun. In the second weeks of marriage, she went and got a gun and was outside shooting 3 weeks in a mental facility, and all the time since then. Her family refused to believe how sick she was. She was a very, very sick young woman.
Now, I do want to say I do not believe the father-in-law, but I want you to hear what the attorney's about to say.
He also seemed to mention that Mica wasn't overly emotional in her 911 phone call just before her death. But here is what Regina Ward, again, Mica's former attorney who we spoke to, here's what she had to say about that.
I can only tell you what my client explained to me happened. And basically, there was a situation where she says that she did get a gun and that she did put that to her head, that she did pull the trigger, and that the bullet jammed. As far as the gun going off after that, that did not happen according to my client. She didn't, say that.
So wait, listen to that again. She says, according to Mica, this is what happened.
And basically, there was a situation where she says that she did get a gun and that she did put that to her head, that she did pull the trigger, and that the bullet jammed.
Okay, now we need to consider the source here. And this is the only thing that gives me pause, really and truly. This is Mica's attorney. Now, so I question this being Mica's attorney. If this is true, why would she come out and say this on Sidebar? Because this looks bad for Mica, right? But she says that Mica, she says allegedly. Now, I question so much here because this is weird that she just came out with a story after Mica said that she put the gun to her head and she did pull the trigger and it jammed. Now, let's think about this. I mean, everyone's been through really tough times in their life. I'm sure almost everyone here has been at those, you're at the very bottom, like your lowest low. I've got to say, and maybe people have different experiences, but I can't even imagine how, what it takes to actually, first of all, put a steel gun to your head, and then to actually pull the trigger. It's not everybody who can do that. Now, and again, considering the source, it is Mica Miller's attorney. It just makes me a little confused. What do you guys think?
I agree. I mean, I shoot guns and I would never even come close. I'm like scared to everything's always, I have etiquette, shooting etiquette, and I point it that way. And I would never, even without a bullet, to be honest with you, even if I knew the chamber was cleared, I would never even do that with it at my lowest point. So that gives me pause.
Yeah.
That gives me a lot of things give me pause. And I'm like, is this a crime? I'm still afraid to even say it's a crime yet.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? I mean, and did what I just played, did it make you change your thinking? But you said after this, you were going to tell us what you're thinking.
No.
So what are you thinking?
I was in that 3% of me thinking, I haven't heard enough, me thinking that she did it herself. He pushed her over the edge. He did something to her. He said something to her. He threatened her. And she said, I'm just done with this. I mean, it makes more sense to me than AI bots, fishermen, conspiracy theory, all this stuff. That makes more sense to me is that she did it to herself. We watched her in the store. We saw her by the gun. We heard her voice. Until I hear more evidence, and then now that I just heard this, I'm still in that like. I
See,
said no.
This really gave
on
me
your
pause. And what Jay is referring to is the poll that I put up, and I'm going to end it now. But we had
Yeah.
230 votes, and I said, "Did Mica alone cause her own death?" And 90.
I said yes.
I've never had a poll this polarized. Never. Not even in the one case. 93% of you said no, and 7% said yes. So again, the question was, did Mica cause her own death? 93% of you said no, and only 7% said yes. That's a remarkable poll result.
That is
It's remarkable. Yeah.
when I said yes, it said 100%.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, everybody had voted. Everybody had
were like,
said
"Ouch."
no. I was the only. I was like, I'm the only one. All right.
No,
What do you
I mean-
think, Kurt Stacy?
Okay, so I mean, it sounds like she was in an abusive relationship, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hell of abusive. Yeah.
And I mean, I really don't have enough information to really say, but I mean, if it's hard to, I mean, it's just hard to say. I mean, look, I've got a gun here. I can pull it out of the case, and here it goes. I'm not going to go kill myself over. This is a 38 Magnum gun, and
That's strong.
I can put it back into the holster, and I set it over here. Right? I mean,
Right.
it's just.
But let's assume just because of the source, let's assume that this story is absolutely true. And I do know that there's video of that testimony. I'm trying to find it right now. I mean, what do you think about the fact that, she ended up being deceased by a gunshot wound to the head? And there's this story out there. What do you think
And
about
then
that?
also like what we talked about where she was in a lake in a very still part of the lake where it was. There was no current. It wasn't a river, and it wasn't a lake that had a lot of current there. She had a gunshot wound to the head. Was there data that showed that she went there by herself?
We don't know yet.
Yeah.
Or
we don't know yet.
Did she go with somebody else that, shot her and put her there? I mean, it's.
Yeah.
It's just.
I guess if you know her background more, you might sway on the side she might have did. I mean,
there's
she
not,
wasn't she SA'd when she was younger? I mean, he groomed her. Didn't he meet her when she was like 14 or 15, something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would need to know more about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, she's got a lot of history of mental health. He groomed her she was a child still. He was like her pastor. So it's not a far
that's so
stretch.
terrible. Yeah, that's freaking
Okay.
terrible.
All right. So, yeah.
I think if you knew her history, you might think a little bit more about it, but you just we don't know enough.
And we go back
I mean, he abused her. I mean, he abused her in every which way. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So, and she put up with it, and just like what we're doing here tonight, Kelly, connecting those clips that you showed, where he really didn't really act like he was very upset. I mean, he was trying to act like he was upset.
Yeah,
Right.
terrible job of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right. And on right after her death, trying to figure out how many likes he has on this and all. It's just it's a bizarre case. And it's almost as bad as the Watts case, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
it's just, it's a man who obviously was over a congregation who, I don't know his background in his theology. I mean, do you? Like
I
what?
don't think it's that, but I don't think it's
How was
too
he?
big a
How was he
deal.
trained? I
Yeah.
mean, did he go to
Yeah.
like seminary or what? I mean,
Nobody knows.
I mean, and
Does
then
anybody know? I don't think anybody knows. I don't think any. But the way that
what?
I understand it is in the South, like in the South, I know you're in the South too, but I mean, I have family, as you know, in that Myrtle Beach area. And I feel like those, and I'm so sorry, I feel like I'm going to offend someone here, but I feel like they're kind of like pop-up churches sometimes.
Well,
And
there's oh God, yeah. It's like there's a church on every corner, right?
yeah.
Yeah, right. I can say that because I'm Catholic. So
Yeah, right.
I know. But I mean it's and you know then there's those ones where they pick up snakes and do all that kind of stuff. But I mean seriously, it's like what's his background in his theology? How did he get this congregation? How much money
Well,
was
they have a hard time getting him out of his pastoral ship because he owns the church and the property it's on. So when the church seniors and the board or whatever they are, were trying, something happened where they were going to ask him to step down. They were unable to because he owns the property and the church on the property. He owns everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then
now his dad was also like a pastor, or was he a pastor? But he had like a religious school, and there was a lot of scandal there. Like one of them burnt down. He was when I was talking before this even came out, and I was talking to my uncle about this, and he said, "Oh, his dad has a big criminal history." And what did he said? He said abuse, something else, and abuse, exploitation, and
the father.
The father does. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so it's probably one of those generational things that is passed down, and then, so you've got that. You got your congregation, and I think when you're a minister over a group of people, that brings a sense of narcissism, or I mean, if you're not in the right mind. I'm not saying every pastor is like that. I mean, there's so many pastors that are in love with the Lord and they love God and they're doing the work of Jesus Christ, but there's bad ones that come along. They've got this group of people, it fuels their ego, and then they've got their wives and all these other people under them, and
any position that puts somebody like front and center where all the attention is on them in that way, those are the kind of things that narcissists are drawn to.
Right, yeah. So he was probably one of them, and then we go to the
a chart.
Yeah, right.
Yes, right.
Give us a flow chart, Kurt.
Well, if you see some of the links in chat, she was 14 and she was nannying, and at 15 she got caught. She got caught in bed with him by his wife.
Okay,
so
I
just
didn't
think
know
about that.
That's something that I did not know.
She was when she was caught in bed with him by his wife, it wasn't that they were caught in a compromising position.
Okay.
And I think she might have been 17. She was either 16 or 17, but I think
I'm
pretty sure she was 17 at the time. So the story keeps this like telephone. It keeps getting like a little bit inflated,
Right.
But that did happen. And then, she married that guy, Jeremy, who was JP's best friend. And then Jeremy caught on to the fact that the pastor who married he and his beautiful wife, Mica, was actually having an affair with his wife. So then he filed for divorce. He and Allie, who was JP's wife, were in touch with each other. Allie caught them in a compromising position. It was in the church. I think that is the point when they would have asked him to step down had he not owned the church and the property was on. But I did find that video of Mica making that testimony about putting a gun to her head. So let me just bring that in really quick and play that for you.
Thanks, Jaded Warehouse.
How can you see? Oh, there it is right there. I see it.
And this is from Plunder,
of homicide. The Robeson County Sheriff's
Good old
Office
Plunder.
prior to this announcement called it a death investigation. So this is what some people were thinking. And have you seen that new Mica Miller testimony Vimeo video? It appeared 3 days ago. So today is Monday, May 6th.
I was in a battle
ya kwamba nilikuwa katika vita katika akili zangu,
and it was so bad
na ilikuwa ni vibaya sana,
I tried to kill myself.
nikajaribu hata jitoe uhai.
I put a gun to my head
ya kwamba nikachukua bunduki nikaiweka kwenye kichwa changu,
and I pulled the trigger.
Nami nikaanza kubonyeza ili ya kwamba nijiue.
And the bullet got caught in the gun.
Lakini ya kwamba hiyo bunduki, risasi ikashikwa kwenye bunduki.
And that was God.
Okay. So let me play that again. So that is her testimony when she was in Africa. You know, her testimony to how she came to God.
Ya kwamba nilikuwa katika vita katika
wait. Okay.
Homicide, the Robeson County Sheriff's Office prior to this announcement called it a death investigation. So this is what some people were thinking. And have you seen that new Mica Miller testimony Vimeo video? It appeared 3 days ago. So today is Monday, May 6th.
I was in a battle.
I was in a battle in my mind.
Nilikuwa katika vita katika akili zangu.
And it was so bad.
It was so bad.
Na ilikuwa ni vibaya sana.
I tried to kill myself.
I tried to kill myself.
Nikajaribu hata jitoe uhai.
I put a gun to my head.
I put a gun to my head.
Ya kwamba nikachukua bunduki nikaiweka kwenye kichwa changu.
And I pulled the trigger.
And I pulled the trigger, but then she says the bullet got jammed.
Nami nikaanza kubonyeza ili ya kwamba nijiue.
And the bullet got caught in the gun.
Lakini ya kwamba hiyo bunduki, risasi ikashikwa kwenye bunduki.
And that was God.
So, yeah, what do you think about that?
Right, and that was
It appeared 3 days ago.
Oh, wait,
it's up to about 1,000 views, right?
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'll see.
Nope, you're good. I just want to turn the volume down on it.
Oh, so that was before her getting involved with her husband, right?
It was her testimony when she was in Africa. I see. No, that was not before. I mean, she's been involved with her husband since she was 17. I mean, and she's known him. She's been part of his congregation and his youth group since she was 14.
Okay. All right. I get it.
So there really is no life before JP, you know. And J May made a really good point a little bit back. I can't remember if I started or not, but you know that he abused her and really messed with her mind before her brain was fully developed. And Sis Vicious is back too. Yeah. Hey, Sis Vicious.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Hey.
Oh, you sound great now.
Do I?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so frustrating because it's only, you've complained about that for like so many years. It's only with the AirPod Pros, which are like $1 million.
I know. That sucks. How
I don't get it. Oh my gosh.
So did you see the testimony from Mica that I just played and the bit about her lawyer talking about her with a gun?
Kelly, I didn't. I always work nights. I think I've told you that. So I had to take a call. I literally just hopped back on from where I left off. And I am behind. Behind on this case. I know like the highlights and I know just very little. I've been so behind and like slacking on your channel anyway. I really hopped on because I wanted to say hi, but I had a few like abstract thoughts just in general listening and catching up on some things I've learned. Tonight, listening in. And it's okay. When I was listening to the interview that he had with, I don't recall was it a TikToker or another YouTuber?
JP himself?
Yes.
He had hopped on with this guy, Justin, on TikTok. He's a TikToker.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm so bothered. And this is like a kind of a carryover from case to case to case. But I feel like, you know, as much as we all love to rely on good old fashioned, you know, police work and detective work, I don't know. When he was talking about like, you know, her being cremated and things like that, like, I don't know. It just kind of gives me the ick, first of all, when people start answering questions that no one's asking and you start getting information that no one's looking for. You know, you kind of have to read between the lines there for yourself. But to be honest with you, if it's not like 100% natural cause, I feel like there should be some type of like preservation measures taken. Maybe not even if it's something that they're investigating at that time, but just to have it. because I feel like so often in these cases that we're seeing, we're working in arrears, or, you know, law enforcement is working in arrears, when it's like, you know, unless someone is just, you know, old age or, you know, a disease or something like that, any type of like, you know, found in this place, you know, found in a, you know, skeleton found in a park, just all these crazy things that we hear. It's like, you know, you should get as much forensics as possible, and they should store it and save it, just because in the event, once it's gone, it's gone.
Right, absolutely.
And to the extent that it's already, you know, depreciated at the time it's found, whatever's there should be preserved, because you don't know what you don't know. And again, you know, here we are, he, you know, she's cremated. So anything that, you know, wasn't retrieved, which doesn't sound like much, is gone. And again, you're working in arrears for forensics, for the digital forensics and things like that. But it's like, you know, any type of like biological information is cooked, you know?
Yeah.
And I just don't think, I feel like there should be, because what happens, I feel a lot of times in these cases, you know, or, you know, they kind of have like this, you know, good old boy assumption where people get the benefit of doubt, and, you know, they're not looked at perhaps in the way they should be. And this is nothing against him personally. Okay, let's say it, innocent until proven a pervert, but when you have like this, you know what I'm saying? But like, okay, but so I don't know. People get the benefit of doubt when I don't always think that they should be, and whoever the detective is or the deciding party, that's their discretion. Maybe they know this person. We've seen it before in smaller town cases where the detectives work, you know, the sheriffs that arrive on site know the people, know the family. And so the benefit of doubt is given. The crime scene or the scene isn't treated how it should be. And I honestly feel like this point, as much as like technology is integrated with forensics, digital analyzation, there should be some type of algorithm where it's like,
it's
if
almost
this
turnkey.
scene, if this like if this circumstance ticks these boxes, this is not optional for you.
Right,
And I
right.
honestly feel like
Mandated.
something
Yes.
needs to happen where it's spelled out so specifically
Put it into
for, you know,
legislation.
the cadets of Mayberry, fucking apparently, but like, you just can't count on people always knowing what to do, and what looks one way to one person might not look that way to another, especially if you have the caveat of them knowing that person or knowing who they are, or
and knowing them in a certain way, and
you know, this guy, you know, a lot of money and being able to finesse people in the community. I just don't think that we're at a position where, again, with all the technology that we have at our fingertips and the ability to develop systems and stop measures to prevent bumbling dumb shit, that we should continue leaving it up to a single person's discretion or a party's discretions. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And I feel like it is so clear, because so often something happens and then here we are working in arrears. Evidence is gone, time is lost, time is wasted.
That's right.
Families are waiting. Victims, you know, victims aren't getting justice. And again, what's lost is lost. And I don't know. Again, I feel like at this point, like we're past the point of being able to leave it up to one person, one department head, even.
Yeah.
It's not working. It's not working anymore. Like I don't know.
Because
But
there are
it's
too many
frustrating.
good old boys in that club, and you know, whether it's a boy, a guy, or a girl, there's just too many people that are connected for corrupt purposes in positions of power.
And you have to chase, you know, for the family. Okay, let's say that you are chasing justice for your relative or whoever, your loved one. Okay, that's the first battle. And then the way the case was bumbled, you know, how often is it that family members, parents pass on without ever knowing what happens to their child?
Yeah, I know.
Then you have to fight upwards, and an upward battle against the legal system to try and find justice for the wrongs that were done in the beginning 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago, it's impossible. You can't
Yeah.
fight both fights. And it's unfortunate, but again, there has to be some sort of accountability because, you know, for these parents and these families or, you know, siblings who have, you know, or are survived or the only survivors left, you know, they spend their entire lives. It's not just the victim's life that's lost. It's the life of the entire family,
Sure.
you know, that's completely absorbed by what's happened and trying to find answers. And to the only people that are able and capable of finding those answers, just bumbling by and, you know, letting it fall by the wayside, I don't think that's okay. And there's really no punishment unless there's something so egregious like we've seen in the last few years with police work and stuff, where it becomes like such a social issue. They just do it out of contrition. But
Right.
that's not the way, I don't think. And I think that there needs to be something that holds these people accountable or gives them some sort of guideline outside of whatever they think in their own minds. Because as we've seen and know, they're not always the brightest. Hello.
Hello.
And sometimes it's the people that couldn't hack it doing anything else. I'm sorry, but it is.
Yeah. No, girl. Hey, can I hear a hallelujah?
Amen.
Oh
Amen.
my
Sister.
God.
Well,
Like they fell
let's
out of a fucking tree, dude.
let's see if. Yeah.
I'm sorry,
First,
I'm
we want to
cussing. I
make
shouldn't
sure.
have cussed, but I get passionate about things and I start ranting. I know I shouldn't have cussed like that. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We have our suspicious face. Here it is. It's good.
But I don't know a whole ton about this case. Like I've been picking up bits and pieces. I've been so busy working with like a million other things.
No,
But
those are all
I've learned
great
a lot
points.
tonight, and I just get so angry with like the shoddy police work
justice
in the
system.
front because it sets the tone for the entire
These
rest of the case going
Absolutely.
forward. But I'm going to shut
does.
up now and let everyone else talk. But
Okay, well, we're actually gonna be
that's
wrapping
what
up
I
soon.
wanted to
We're going on like three-ish hours, but I want to let
Hasn't been
everybody.
that long, really.
What's that?
Yeah,
I know,
it's
right?
2 hours and 55 minutes, brother.
Damn, I know.
Wow.
But everybody, I think that Jay needs to step down because she has to go, you know, to bed probably. But I want everybody to go check out her channel. It's Guilty of Crime. It's a great channel. I know that you're gonna love it. So definitely go check out Jay's channel, Guilty
Appreciate
of Crime.
you.
Do you have some last things to say, Miss Jay?
You know, my biggest thing is I just want to find out if it was a crime or if
Right.
it wasn't. So I'm going to follow this case until I see that it was either cleared or it wasn't. When I see the paperwork,
Yeah.
I'll be right here watching your channel because I love
Hopefully
how
filled
you.
with lots of charts.
I love charts because that means there's actual evidence, right?
Data.
I mean,
Give me some data, baby. I will
Give
crunch
me-
it.
give me data, give me what lawyers are saying all day
Yes.
long, and then we know it's a crime. So if they're looking at it as a crime, we'll see some paperwork sooner or later. We'll see. And toxicology doesn't mean anything. Maybe she was taking a ton of Xanax that day and sounded like a robot.
Exactly.
We don't know. That's why she
Yeah.
said she could have been just Xanax up. I'm about to off myself. We don't
Yeah.
know.
Right. Yeah.
But
True.
in the meantime, I will be watching your channel because I like true crime.
Awesome. Thank you, girl. Thank you so much for coming up. You're the best.
I
Thank
just want
you.
to
Thank you
interject
for.
this. Thank you. It was so nice to meet you.
I'll listen.
I hope that I am on panel with you or talk to you again soon, and I'm not just talking over you again like I am.
And
I'll be back. Don't worry. I'm gonna have you all back.
Yeah, everybody's wonderful here. I love you all, and I'll see you soon. Thank you,
Awesome,
Kelly.
girl.
Have a good
great
night, y'all.
Take care.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Hey, JPMX. Take care, sweetheart.
And
All right.
before I go, I want to just say what she said.
Yeah, it was so well said. My gosh.
Yes, these people get caught over time because they're not smart. They
Right.
think they are, but they get caught. We've seen it in all these different cases, and I think this pastor's another one. But that's just my take on all of this
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. I mean, a lot
We'll
is
see.
yet to be seen. I mean, he is such a dirty, like Jay was saying, such a bad actor. He's such a dirty character. And we know that the history, I know you guys don't know all the ins and outs of this case. And there are so many ins and outs, I think, that none of us really know yet. But, you know, there is just his pattern of abuse and bad behavior and manipulation is just so thick, it almost makes it hard to not suspect that my God, he has to have a direct hand in this, you know?
Right. We can't say for certain, but I think when, the truth always comes out. It does.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Generally speaking, unless it's a Watts case, but we got the truth.
Right. There's too much about that. We can go.
Attorney Rourke District Attorney Rourke just needs to go, and so somebody else can get on board with us.
I saw something about that where someone was saying that he's thinking about appealing. He may be in the next couple of years appealing this case, maybe because of NK, but I thought it was just, hearsay, YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me. You murdered your wife and your kids and all that, and you think you got an appeal?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Right. Yeah, I know. I don't know if there's an appeal available for him, but we'll see. We'll see.
No, I know. It was just something where they were saying maybe we're gonna be. Anyway, thank you for having me up, Kelly.
Thank you, Kurt. I'm glad to see you. I always love having you up here. I'm glad you're well. It's wonderful to see you, sweetheart.
Kurt, it was nice to see you too, and I'm glad you're back, and I'm glad you're feeling well. And
thank you.
We got our Kurt back. Woohoo!
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sweetheart. We love you here.
I know. I love you too.
You always have a home at Watsy Obsession.
Aw.
Take care.
We love our Kurt. So, Suspicious Girl, well, everything that you had to say was just apropos, perfect, even without, being apprised of all of the details, all of the twisted details of this case. I mean, you make a very good point. So it's good to see you and good to have you up here.
Thank you. It's good to see you too. It's good to say hi to
welcome.
everybody.
And show me a text message because I can hear that thing in your voice. We've got to talk.
Girl.
I know. I hear it.
Oh, Lordy. Do we ever? Yes, I will. I promise. I know I was so absent. That's why I wanted to hop up and say hi to you. And
and when I'm getting off in a couple of minutes, if you want to talk, time is yours for a little bit. So let me know.
Oh yeah. I'll give you a call.
Please do. I want to see how you're doing. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Good night.
Bye, everyone.
Oh, great panel. So thank you, all of you. Jay May, Guilty of Crime. Go check out our channel, please. Kurt Stacy, our boy, is back. Suspicious, my girl. It's a great panel. Thank you guys all so much for coming up, and everybody who participated in chat. Such great comments. Thank you guys for the super stickers and super chats. I appreciate you. Thanks for supporting the channel. Moderators, you are the best. I couldn't do it without you. And subscribers, members, everyone, please do me a favor. Please click the like button. You know how that goes. Do the YouTube thing. And if you're just checking us out, please subscribe. We want you to come back, and you might want to come back too. You might be like, oh, I kind of missed them. So I'm planning on doing I haven't done a Watts live stream in a few weeks because I've been really focused on this case. I am going to do a Watts live stream probably sometime this weekend. So if you are interested in that, be looking out for that. We have a lot to pick up where we left off with the real timeline and some other things. So it'll be all really good content to that degree. And I really do appreciate you all. Thank you so much. I just feel like this is the best community. Love the live streams. You guys are all respectful and smart and listen to each other and give me great information and insight and ideas. And I didn't get to read out as many comments as I wanted to tonight because there was a lot to go through and panel had great things to say, but I appreciate all you guys. So everyone, please lock your windows and lock your doors because I want you safe. And remember, life is hard no matter what you're going through, whether it's a good time or a bad time. We all know that life can be really hard. So please be nice to each other. And most of all, be good to yourself because I know you deserve it. Because you deserve it. You do. So be good to yourself. Please, please do it for me. Please be good to yourself. Just try it out if you don't usually do that. So everybody have a good night. And I hope to see you again really soon.
If I ask you a question that somebody asked,
I'll see. Let me say this. I want to answer everything, but I don't want to answer it without me holding up my proof and showing it to you because I think it's just ignorant for someone to just give their opinion or say something and not have proof behind it when it's something as serious as this is.
Yes, my friends, that is J.P. Miller, the former pastor at Solid Rock Church, catched in a somewhat impromptu moment during a live stream with Justin on TikTok just last night.
Someone just said, how is he tied to Mica? I do want justice for Mica, and I'm going to help bring that. I definitely want justice for Mica. And somebody said, I love the attention. There's something I learned through this that I don't think the world knows, or I don't think America knows, and that is, on a police report, you can lie and say anything you want to say. You can say that Big Bird killed Cookie Monster on Sesame Street, and they have to write it down.
Correct.
And so a lot of people take police reports as fact. It's not fact that somebody said it. The other thing you can do is people can actually line affidavits. You can write anything you want to in an affidavit, and it doesn't matter.
We will be taking a look at the latest breaking news on the Mica Miller case and take a deep dive into several of the stories that have been going around on social media and in the news and have been reported from the parties involved to find out what actually is the truth.